What we do here is go back.
Is that working now? Oh my god, it is actually working. Thank the small little baby G-bus for that. Does that look really jerky? I don't know. Has it dropped any frames? No? Okay. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Let's have a look on the screen. I can't really tell. Is the audio actually working? It's working. Praise be baby G-bus. That's a big box. Yeah, it is a big box. Thank you. I can't think of his name now. What's his name from Thermaltake? Adam. Thank you, Adam from Thermaltake UK, for sending over this big bastard box. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's made my life absolute misery. I've actually had to get an extending table on the end of our desk here just to fit the bloody thing on. And the camera is all sorts of in weird places. I wish actually it was on a gimbal thing so I could just slide it along so I was actually in the shot when I was supposed to be. I need like 17 cameras to actually get this thing in the shot. Anyway, good evening one and all. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. Welcome. It is Saturday the 24th of September 2022. The magical day that was not. Less said about that the better. I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. Tonight's stream, we will be taking a deep dive into the Thermaltake View 300 MX Snow Edition. Now, the View 300 is a very unusual name for it because there is actually a View 300 already, I believe, which looks very, very different indeed. But this is the MX Snow Edition, available in two colours, the Snow Edition, and also there's a blackout version. What makes this somewhat unique is the fact that it's got two 200mm fans at the front, and potentially you can put another 200mm in the top. That is a very unusual thing. So we're going to be going through tonight, unboxing it, go through the specs, tear it all apart, see what it's all about, see if it's any good. I'm unsure if I'm actually looking forward to building in it, because it's such a big case. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to feel the bloody thing. But anyway, that's for me to worry about and for you to laugh along with me sweating and working out what is going on in my life. Obviously there's other things in the PC tech news, etc., which have been going on, which no doubt you'll want to discuss. Clearly PCI Express Gen 5 is a thing. I envisage all kinds of nightmares. I thought it was bad when we went from AM3 to AM4 and when we had BIOS flashbacks and all that kind of stuff, but with PCI Express Gen 5 and the new ATX 3.0 power supplies, it is an absolute disaster waiting to happen. So we'll be discussing that, and I'll be interested to hear your thoughts and your views and all that kind of stuff later on in the stream. We're going to say hello to some of you in the stream first of all, do some hellos and all that kind of stuff, wait for a few people to get into the stream so we can do this unboxing. Yes, it's going to be difficult because I'm going to probably have to sit over there somewhere and do the case over here somewhere, so you may not be able to see me, or you may not be able to see the case, or vice versa. But anyway, it is what it is. I've not been doing this very long, so it's a bit rough and ready. I actually need a wider lens on the camera, or a bigger room. Actually, a bigger room would be perfect. And something that autofocused properly. But anyway, I digress. There's a super chat come in from Callum Young. If you're new here and you're not sure what the hell is going on, don't worry, you're in good company, because neither do I. When we get a super chat come in, it illuminates the globe of doom. Well, doom for you, because your money is coming out of your pocket. It also gives Kath some exercise to get up off her lazy fat ass and turn off the studio lights. We could automate the process, but why? I feel mean. Let's not do that. She's smiling. I don't know why. She gets exercise, she likes it. Thank you, Callum, for the £5 super chat. It says, I have changed my name to Trooper, from Trooper, sorry. I am not a stranger, I promise. Hey, stranger or not, you're Your money is always welcome, and also your membership in this community, as is with everybody. We had a super chat earlier as well before we started the stream from Ugly Bob. I must say as well, happy belated birthday to Ugly Bob, who has had a birthday last Thursday. Kept that very quiet, although he's not been on the Discord all week. He's been extremely busy, so I'm not sure whether he's just hiding intentionally. But, sorry, Flame is licking his paw on top of a cardboard box, and that sounds awful. That sounds like a hard drive crash. Clearly it's not. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, £2 super chat from Bob. Thank you very much for that. It says disco, 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 hence the disco ball. Right, so let's scroll back up through these comments and see who else is in the chat. So we've got O'Reilly's with us. How you doing, O'Reilly? O'Reilly says, not a bad looking case. I would prefer it in black mind. It goes gone of the idea of white cases. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, white cases are one of those things that it's a kind of slightly unique thing, isn't it, a white case? You have to have a very specific reason, I think, to go for a white case, because trying to actually source other white components isn't always easy, and quite often there will be a price premium because it's not the kind of the run-of-the-mill black parts. So yeah, definitely there is, you have to have a kind of specific need for it, I think, in my opinion. But yeah, this is available in white and black also. Bob says, it's not a bad looking case. Looks like plenty of room to build inside. Yeah, I would hope so. I would certainly hope so. Apparently it takes 360mm radiators in the top, the front and the side. So potentially if you're into your water cooling, there's a lot of options going on here. There is another super chat now from Bob. It says, sending you this now before the whiskey makes me pass out, thanks to William. Yeah. We pass on. William Bodie, one of our regulars, sent a gift down to us. Loads of bits and pieces which you saw on last week's stream. And there was some corn whiskey, which we then sent on to Bob for his birthday.
But we didn't know it was his birthday.
But we didn't know it was his birthday because we kind of forgot and we're useless. I should have remembered because my brother's birthday is this week as well. But then I forget that unless it comes up on Facebook. So if you want me to remember your birthdays, friend me on Facebook. You can't miss. It's Mike Churchill. Just look for me, you'll find me. Or just look for the down end asshole. You'll know what I mean when you see it. Anyway, moving on. Thank you, Bob. Paul Bakewell's with us. Says, hi everybody. How you doing, Paul? I'll try and get through these quickly. William Bodie's with us. How you doing, William? Kieran Atkinson says, happy belated birthday, Bob. There's a lot of B's in there. William Bodie, first you swallow, then you holler. Yeah, that's what it says on the corn whiskey. James Brock says, already gave a like. Bless you, sir. Rick H says, cheers to all the mubs around the world. Good old Sky Stalker's with us. How you doing, Sky? Hi, Tina, if you're watching. Sorry, just scanning through. Rick H says, too pricey for me. Looks like a good case to build in. It is not a cheap case. This, I believe, here in the UK. Actually, did we find a UK price for it? Was it like 169 or something? I did have a link in the video description. So if you look in the live stream, if you look in the video description, there should be a link to scan.co.uk, I believe it is from. Or was it Overclockers? I think it's probably Scan. Not entirely sure. One of the two. Sorry. Peeling labels off the side of the box to remove any traces of my home address. So I don't get sent many things, bad things. Anyway, digressing. Lucky Man's with us. How you doing, Lucky Man? James Brock said, Welly Bob. I said, evening mothers, that case, I want it. I'll be honest with you, if it isn't overtly expensive, I would be tempted to go with the black version. I do like my my 200mm fans on the front, very much like the F15. I do like that a lot, the Gamex F15. Clearly this is going to be a little bit more flexible than the F15, although the F15 is still a great case, and actually still a pretty decent value for money. Let's have a look on here. Yeah, that top-mounted top-mounted 200mm fan does hark back to the age of the Antec 900, which had the 200mm big boy fan in the top, which was awesome. I like that a lot. Let's see, who else we got with us? James Brock, Sky Stalker we said hello to, Welly Bob, yes, James Brock again. Mick Woods says, to beer or not to beer? That is the question. Evening everyone, looking forward to another live stream from Mike and Kath. Thank you, Mick. It's definitely 3 bottles of Peroni. Some more on standby in the fridge. My throat is actually starting to get a little bit better. My health regime appears to be paying off at the moment. Still a little bit sore, but getting there. So yeah, some lifestyle changes. Hopefully the GERD or acid reflux or whatever the hell is going on inside my esophagus is starting to heal up a little bit. So you never know, I may be able to partake in some alcoholic beverages at some point in my life, which is good because Christmas is coming and I don't think I'm going to get through Christmas without alcohol. Anyway, moving on. Letters with us says, hello people, I have a couple of hot dogs, some chicken wings and a bottle of hot sauce. I think I'm ready for the stream. Just don't get hot sauce on your fingers and then wipe your eyes. Or anywhere else for that matter. There's some painful shit right there. Sleepwalker says, good evening all from Birmingham, UK. How you doing, Sleepwalker? Looking forward to the stream. PS, saw you earlier, Mike, in Adamant IT live stream. Yes, I do check in every now and then on the competition. Not that they're competition, is we're in a very, very different league. Entirely, very, very different types of channels. But yes, I do enjoy watching Adamant IT when I'm trying to get asleep in the... I actually did fall asleep watching their streams today. I was in the garden, enjoying the last of the late summer stroke autumnal sun. And yeah, Caradog's dulcet tones were helping ease my eyelids closed. Good fun. There's a super chat coming again from James Brock. Says, you and Kath are the benefactors of Lord Erectus. Help me to my command exe command prompt Microsoft issue. Without your channel would not have helped. Thank you. Oh, that's cool. I don't really understand that text. I kind of do, I don't. Lord Erectus, help me with... Thanks anyway. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it, James. I like James. James is one of those no-nonsense kind of guys. He just says it as it is. Sometimes he may be a little bit curt. But yes, I do like your style. Alexa says, I click the like button. Good, just don't click it twice. Matthew Day, microwave dinner critically achieved. Oh, we had some bargains today, posted them onto the Discord in the general, went down to the local co-op and also to the local Sainsbury's. Co-op was a sack of shite. There was
most of the week, to be honest. Not
much gone off stuff there for value sticker items, but on the flip side, went into the Sainsbury's and Sainsbury's, hallelujah, was absolutely brilliant. We had 4 packets of ham sandwiches, awesome stuff. They were like 55p each, so that is great. What else did we have? Oh, a chicken chow mein dinner, a fresh one, £1.50, reduced down from £3.25, I think. Awesome, we're liking that a lot.
Some mackerel for the cats.
Mackerel, fresh mackerel, reduced down from £1.65 to 39p, was it?
I think
Something like that, yeah. What else was there? There was something else as well. Oh, a American style sandwich. That was from Co-op, like a wrap. That was Co-op, reduced from like £1.90 down to 65p. Awesome savings. If only we could find those savings in the PC industry right now. That would be amazing. Everything's so freaking expensive, especially cases. Anyway, moving on. Who else is with us? Skystalker says, hello Mike. Nice to see you. Welly Bob's with us, he's all good. Sleepwalker says, sounds cool here. I gotta be honest with you, I'd never even checked the stuff here to see if the sound and the audio was okay. But it seems to be. Awesome. Zeno says, all perfect. Perfection is a little bit of a stretch, but as long as it's mediocre or okay, I can live with that. That's something I can definitely deal with. Nick Barnes. The lovely Nick Barnes, how you doing? Glenn's with us as well. Says, evening all. How you doing, Glenn? Glenn done some serious overclocking today. Water cooled Noctua fans. Well, Noctua fans on a radiator on, I think he said it was a GTX 980 Ti. Looking for some heavy numbers there. Lovely jubbly. Looks good. Lucky Man says, has Mike lost weight or height? Probably a little bit of both. I feel a little bit taller. It's probably the camera lens, to be honest with you.
It's because that box is so big.
And the box is just big and I just look like
Mini-like.
drawn. I have lost a little bit of weight. Well, I haven't lost weight. I'm just losing, like, fat, I guess, or bad shit, which is always good. And there's another super chat coming in from Mick Woods, £10. Thank you, Mick Woods. Bless you, sir. He hasn't said anything, but sometimes silence is the best option. Especially when I'm trying to answer questions. This week was awful. YouTube, I don't know what they were doing on, I think it was Thursday. Something went really wrong with their algorithm, and basically all of the previous hurtful, nasty, or just comments which were spam, all that kind of stuff, or anything which has got a link posted into it, basically all came in at the same time. Now, we do try and make it so that we answer as many of your questions as possible. So basically, first thing of the day, I go to the YouTube Creator Studio, click on comments, and any comments that I have not answered to. Now, there is a cut-off point of 3 years. So if it's older than 3 years, it's unlikely it's ever going to be answered now.
But they all just appeared from nowhere, didn't they? A couple of years ago.
It might be just out of, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll answer that one. But generally, I will try and answer anything if I haven't answered it already. If it's a continuation of an existing question, it's harder for me to find. But anyway, you get the general idea. So I came in, normally there's kind of somewhere in the region of between, I don't know, quiet day, probably 20 to 30, on a busier day, maybe 100 questions, that sort of thing. But there was literally pages and pages and pages. I was just scrolling through and scrolling through. It was like 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago. I was like, what the hell is going on? Clearly something's not right. And some of the comments were just, I'm glad that YouTube kept them from me for so long. So I think if I'd been a weaker state of mind, I would have probably contemplated closing the channel and just locking myself in my bedroom and crying on my big pillow. That would have definitely been a thing. There were some genuinely hurtful comments.
Tex weighs in. Did he have the same?
Yeah, it was very bizarre. But anyway, we move on. We get through it. Fortunately, Friday was much better. There was lots of positive comments and lots of people saying, thank you, Mike, this has really helped me. Or actually, someone said about a review I did about an iMu camera, saying this is like the best review I've ever seen. You've actually gone through, you've tested the microphone in different positions, which is something which we want to know if we're recording audio. You're amazing. Thank you very much. It's like, that is very nice. It's nice when you get things like that. There's so many people that are very full of hate and heading towards the dark side. But there's a lot of people out there which also are very supportive. And we like that. It helps me get up in the morning and actually want to get out of bed. So bless you for those of you that are actually being kind. Tiny Bob. Ugly Bob says, thank you, Adam, for sending in something that makes Mike look tiny. Thanks, I think. Oh, dear. Oh, here's Poppy Dora. Come here. Wait. Come here. Poppy.
Where's Grumpy?
Pops. Look. Boba Fett. Technically it's a Mandalorian, I think, but whatever. Glenn says, mini Mike in the house tonight. Thank you. Sleepwalker says, sometimes less is more. Massive cases are an advantage if you've taken out a bank loan to fill it with goodies. Oh, yes. Skystalker says, new PSUs confirmed. Yes, new PSU. I've actually got one here from Thermaltake. They sent this case and their new Tough Power GF3 1350 watt power supply with a dedicated 600 watt PCIe Gen 5 graphics card connector, which is specifically designed to natively fit with NVIDIA's own RTX 4080 and 4090 graphics cards. What an absolute beast. And apparently the PCI SIG who ratified the connection have said it only lasts for about 30 connections. So every time you plug it in, you're basically counting down to the end of either your power supply cable or your graphics card connection. This does not bode well. I think a lot of AIB partners or add-in board partners will be still going down the PCI Express, the traditional 6 or 8 pin route. I see that happening across the board. I'm kind of guessing maybe NVIDIA, obviously, they're going to stick with their own PCI Express Gen 5 connection. I don't think there's going to be many others that adopt it. Ones that I think possibly would have done would have been EVGA. And, well, we all know the story there. Right, moving on. James Brock says, who doesn't love a deep dive into a big box?
The cats when they don't know it's not.
Yeah, the
closed.
cats when they don't know if the lid's closed properly. Nicholas Barlow says, good evening. How you doing, Nicholas? Let's have a look. What else we got? William Bodie. Sorry, I'm going through this very slowly now. Texway. How you doing, mate? Average price about 150, but you can find them 100 to 200 pound depending on the version of the card. Oh, I'm not sure. I must have missed what that was. William Bodie says Poppy looks like a leopard next to Mike.
He's a snow leopard.
Matthew Day is being a heretic and says bring back Molex. No, please don't bring back Molex.
That's Flena's box pops.
Rick H says just bought an EVGA RTX 2060 12 gig model before they're all scooped up. Nice one. Glenn says it's like the old Sinbad movies. Michael have a sword in a minute. Not a bad idea. Aletta says, I like Molex. You are a strange person, Aletta. I understand where you're coming from. You can get a lot of juice out of a Molex connector. TechSoul says the smaller Thermaltake H200 RGB Snow Edition is reduced on scan from 90 to £60. Ooh, I need to have a look at that. If it's £60, that's bloody good. William Bodie says, I can't find this case here in Germany, not even on Amazon. Which is ironic because on the side of the box, it says there, export Germany. It actually came out of Germany to get here. So someone in Germany has gone. Old Man Withers says, with the price and power draw of the 40 series, Nvidia can keep them. Yeah, I think you're I think you're absolutely right. Right, so I think I've answered enough of your questions. Said hello to all of you good folk there. So let's move some of this scheisse out the way, and we will attempt to unbox this case and take a look at it. Oh, moving. Sometimes when you don't want a mouse pad to slip, it does, and vice versa. Anyway, right then, I'm going to shift the on down here, move this bad boy over here, and I don't know how that looks. Does that look any good? Oh, balls.
You made that look really easy.
What's that?
Just slide in that case.
It is actually quite easy. It's so far away. Right, let's clear that off the screen. Is that gone now? Yeah, awesome stuff. Right, let's do this. So, I'm not going to know if I'm in the shot or not, so Kath, you're going to have to keep an eye.
My screen, haven't you?
No, it's cut off. This room is shit. I hate this room for filming, I genuinely do. It is possibly the worst setup that I could have possibly imagined, being someone who's A, left-handed, and yeah, basically everything about this room is wrong and should be flipped the other way round. But we can't spin it around 180 for various reasons. Because actually, why can't we spin it around 180? Oh, because we got the window. Although that might be a nice backdrop. No, because we can't have... No, because we've got a fireplace there. No, it doesn't work. I'll shut up and continue. Right. Thermaltake's View 300 MX Snow Edition. As you can see, this is a case. It is supporting of eATX motherboards. ATX as well. Micro ATX if you're some kind of absolute lunatic. And if you're even worse, an ITX board will fit in here. Hell, put a Raspberry Pi in there if you want to. I don't care. Please, ideally put an ATX or extended ATX motherboard in here. You've got plenty of room. So, something which is really nice to see, which we don't always see on Thermaltake products because they're, well, they're Thermaltake and they dance to their own beat. They really do, don't they? They don't really follow the crowd. There's certain companies which do. So you've got your Asus, your MSI, your Gigabyte, which generally tend to all kind of follow the known path in terms of the peripherals, etc. But Thermaltake are kind of like, right, we're going to build some fans, or we're going to build something, and we're just going to do it the way we want to. Or, arguably, some would say we'll copy someone else's design and put our badge on it. Naughty, don't say that. They're nice people. But what I'm trying to say is RGB, so motherboard sync. So rather than being some proprietary Thermaltake control box, which basically only runs with Thermaltake software, which, I'll be honest with you, it is super flexible. I don't like it. I prefer to use my standard 5V addressable RGB pins wherever I possibly can, because it means it's more flexible. You can mix and match a little bit. So say for instance, there is like a GPU riser or something you want to put in there which has got RGB on it, but Thermaltake don't have the particular one you want, so you're kind of screwed because you're locked into their RGB ecosystem. With this, you're not. So you can use Asus Aurora Sync, you can use RGB Fusion from Gigabyte, you can use MSI Mystic Light Sync. Of course, there is one missing from there, ASRock. It will work the same with ASRock boards, they just haven't paid the money to actually put ASRock on there, because ASRock are kind of the, along with BioStar I suppose, they are the kind of lower tier boards. I actually quite like ASRock boards, to be honest with you. I've not had a BioStar board in best part of 20 years. That needs to change. BioStar, if anyone from BioStar is watching, or you know anyone who works at BioStar, send them out. Let them know. I want to review one of their boards, I genuinely do. Anyway, so that is what is going on there. We'll look on the side of the box, and yeah, more of the same. So view 300, you get a better view of it there. USBs on the top, there's looks like a reasonable selection there. I'm not entirely sure about this basement bit being open at the bottom. I don't like that a great deal. That for me might be somewhat of a deal breaker, but we'll have a look, see what it's like. Other side of the box exactly the same, apart from the big dent there. I'm saying this because I haven't opened this at all. You're seeing this the first time as I am. This is all completely virgin territory for me. So if for any reason this side is completely foobar inside, it's not me, it's DPD or whoever it was who did it. Was it UPS?
I'm not sure. I think it's Royal Mail.
If it's Royal Mail, it's going to be wrecked.
I think it's Royal Mail.
We'll have a look.
It might have been to other reviewers first, mightn't it?
I think this has probably been to someone else already, because there was a label on here which I've taken off, but I couldn't read what it said, so it makes no difference anyway. So case type mid-tower, dimensions on there, so it's 505mm by 203 by 506, so kind of in terms of height by depth, it's kind of square, give or take a millimeter. I don't think anyone would kind of shoot you down and say, no, it's not exactly square. It looks square to me. 230mm wide, that is actually quite wide. The majority of computer cases are generally, actually 230mm, that is, in real money, that is over 9.5 inches.
What does that look like?
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea what 9.5 inches look like. Moving on. I'm actually going to measure my case in it and see how wide it is, because this is...
Good.
Yeah, so 9.5 inches, yeah, I don't think that would just about fit in my computer cubby hole, so I won't be stealing this one from Thermaltake as much as I potentially like to. So yeah, it's going to be pretty wide. You've got 2 3.5 inch bays, 4 2.5 inch bays, or 6 2.5 inch bays if you want to swap the 2s to 3, to swap the 3.5 inch bays for 2.5 inch bays. You've got USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C, so that's 10 gigabit per second Type C, and also a USB 3.0 times 2, so that's going to be probably 5 gigabit per second, I'd imagine. HD audio, standard PS2, PSU optional, fan support. Oh, what the hell? Let's just get it out of the box. This thing's fucking huge, absolutely huge.
Stand up and don't do your back again.
I don't know if I can stand up because I don't think I'd need a ladder to get to it. Oh, there's a super chat from Kev. I didn't see that.
It looks like super
Oh, just supporter. Looks interesting. It does.
Kev's in our Lord Erectus.
Lord Erectus, how you doing?
And Nicola Serbia, was it?
Hello, all of you, Nicola, etc. Right, what we got here? I'm going to try and turn this around so you can actually see what is going on here. So this, I believe, is the replacement front panel for the case, because it comes with 2 front panels, I believe, one of which is glass, one of which is ventilated, like a, not a mesh, but like a cutout, which, this is actually something which I don't like.
Is it 185mm fans?
No, 200mm fans. So there is a filtered front panel there. Does that come off?
Does now.
I don't think it does. I think it's actually captive. There is bits there you can bend out, but it's not designed to pop out, I think, by the looks of things. No, because that clips on. So the front panel, I don't know. I would have preferred to have seen that completely chopped out around there, because the T-shape, it's not really kind of airflow optimized, is it? You've got the vent, the mesh there. Yeah, I can't even feel that. So, yeah, unless those fans have got some decent static pressure, I feel that is a little bit redundant. But anyway, so there is, you can see the two fans there already. That's with the glass front on. There's mesh on the side as well to let a bit of air in. See, I think they've done it again. Thermaltake come up with some really nice designs, but I feel that this is just too choked off. We'll find out when we do the testing. I'm not going to do a system building it tonight, obviously, because, well, I don't even know if I can fit it on my desk yet. Let's try and get this thing out in one piece without destroying something. Oh, that didn't sound very good. Right. Jesus Christ. Christ, I want a bike. Right. Static time. Oh no, it's all good. I'll put it down on the glass front. That'll work well.
It's like in that box, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it actually damaged anyway? No, it's not. Right. Let's unsheath it. This is a big old case. Oh. I actually quite like it. Okie dokie. Right then. So where the hell do we start with this? I am genuinely, not entirely sure. Right, let's start. Oh, bloody hell. Don't want to move now. See how much I'm straining there? This is a heavy cake. Actually, I didn't even say how heavy it was. It's just to say it's heavy. It's very heavy. So, yeah. The front panel, obviously, this is interchangeable.
They can't see them over at hand.
So, that is the interchangeable front panel. So you've got the options of having either this glass front, which actually I think looks nicer. I'm not convinced by the T logos on here. I think that is a little bit... Being that there's kind of mesh here, I would have preferred to have seen mesh on this, I think. If I'm really truthfully honest. I'm not 100% convinced. Now these aren't easily interchangeable either because there's screws there, which means there's screw holes there, etc. So it isn't going to be a simple thing of actually taking this off either, I don't think. And that goes right down to the floor as well, so there's actually no airflow underneath. Let's see if I can pull that front panel off without breaking it. Oh, actually, no, there is airflow underneath. This is going to come off and smash me in the face now. All right. Well, now bits are falling off. What was that from? Oh, that's from the USB covers. Right, let's take those out there. I'll try not to lose those. Adam, if I lose them, I'm apologising in advance. And if I've apologised in advance, you can't be mad at me.
This has got to go back.
It has got to go back to Thermaltake, so yeah, just to be clear. So with that out the way, oh, fucking hell, that's heavy. So we've got some absolutely gigantic Thermaltake fans here. This is their new, I don't think they're tough fans, are they? They are, let's say on the back. Let's have a look through here. These are the TT2030s, or A2030L12S to be precise. DC brushless fans. From what I've read, I'm sure they're fluid dynamic fans. They kind of feel like they probably are. They haven't got much wiggle to them. Although they've not put the sticker on overly accurately. But you can feel there's a nice bit of quality to them. If you've got the GameMax F12, or basically any of the sort of slightly cheaper cases, with the fans, you kind of spin the blades and you're kind of like, yeah, that feels a bit ropey. Even the Lian Li 215 was exactly the same. That felt a little bit on the cheap side. These are, from what I gather, they're PWM and 5-pin addressable RGB. I'm going to have a look and see if there's actually a hub of any sort in here. Kind of hoping there is. We've got to pass some sort of quiz to get the side panel off. Oh no, just got to not be a weed. All right. Oh, they've done it. So what I was saying earlier about the fans and Thermaltake dancing to their own beat, they kind of have.
Turning it around.
So, turn it around. There is the fan hub, and the fans which are included are connected on a, what's that, 7 or 8 pin connection. So they are PWM at least, but then you've got these outputs, so power and PWM to the motherboard, SATA to power the hub. There's also another LED kit you can plug in there, and also an additional fan header, PWM 4 pin, and also there's LED 5 volt 3 pin. So yeah, there is a hub of sorts. Not overly crazy about that, to be honest with you, although saying that, with RGB stuff you can rewire it, but when you're spending quite a lot of money you probably don't want to. Although saying that, it does simplify the wiring, just having those 2 wires coming out of there. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Lots of room actually. It's nicely finished. The paint job's pretty decent, and the bits that are plastic and going into metal, you can't really tell the difference. It's pretty accurate paint. Removable thumb screws. Go on.
Jan, I don't like those HDD drive caddies exposed.
Yeah.
Nick Barnes' logo is publicity versus mesh practicality. James Miscellaneous, those big fans on the front chassis, totally not made to accommodate them, so lazy.
Yeah, the trouble is with the fans, just to address James's comment there, this is always going to be a big thing. If you've got a case where you're looking for flexibility, so the ability to put in kind of whatever you want to, you are going to have additional bracketry behind the fans in order to kind of sustain that. So if you just had the 200mm fans and the metal behind it was all cut out, if for some reason you decided, actually I don't want 200mm fans, I want to put 3 140s in, you simply just wouldn't be able to, because there wouldn't be the bracketry to do it. And conversely, if you want to put a 360 radiator, there'd be nowhere to physically mount it. It is a very common thing with all of these cases that have the 200mm fans, that there is going to be a lot of bracketry and mounting stuff actually behind it. In fact, if I get the screwdriver a minute, I will show you exactly what I mean. If I can actually get to it. Ugh. Oh, I'm moving the desk around. Let's get the old screwdriver on the go. What was you on? PH2, I think, for that. Hopefully they've not put some bizarre thing on there.
Like those do 3 120, 3 140 and 2 200.
Yeah, the front panel will do 2 200s, 3 140s, or 3 120s.
James Miscellaneous, I know they have it like that for that reason. There should be industry standard bracket adapter, just sick of seeing obstructed airflow. Also
That makes sense.
added turbulence will add noise. I hate noise.
In terms of adding extra turbulence, it does a little bit, but because 200mm fans generally don't have a lot of static pressure, they don't generate turbulence because of their slow RPM in general. So the extra bracketry behind doesn't really add any noise to it. If anything, it probably dampens it. It does dampen the airflow very slightly as well, but not as much as you'd think really. Because what you're going to be doing is where you've got actual brackets there, that is then forcing the air that's being pulled in, which is open, through the back. So that air is then being compressed behind the blades, and then it's going to increase the airflow on the inside. So it is going to be slightly restrictive if the fans are rubbish, but if the fans are decent and have got pretty decent static pressure anyway, all it's going to do is going to compress the air on these bits and let it through on there. So it's going to be a more kind of focused airflow, I suppose you would say. At least that's what I found. They've actually cut out the side slits there, which is unusual. Not many manufacturers do that. Normally that'll be solid. So they've done actually quite well there. But I do agree with what you're saying. It would be nice if there was some sort of standardized thing here. Again, it's kind of like Meccano. They've done it in such a way that it should work out for most people. Even with 120mm fans, because you've got this bar in the middle, at some point that is going to cause issues or be annoying or just look awful, because if you've got the fans behind there, then you're going to see these bars. So that does limit how you can do it in terms of looks. Anyway, so that is the fan. They're actually quite nice fans. And even just slowly spinning like that, it is creating a reasonable draft. So yeah, not too bad at all. It could be a lot worse. I'm trying to think of a case where I've had particularly bad 120mm, 200mm fans, where they have actually been genuinely awful. Can't think off the top of my head which ones it was. Anyway, I'll stick these back in, if I can find the right screw thread hole. That must be there. So I guess with this sort of thing, if you're not keen on this size of fan, this case is going to be a definite no-no.
Why do you, Dutch Jan, why do you buy 200mm fans?
Sorry, why do I?
Buy a case with 200mm fans to put 120 fans in it.
Well, that's the thing, you don't buy it necessarily to do that. And most people, like the Lianli 215, the GameX F15, basically any of the cases which support 200mm out of the gate, there's very few people I feel that will actually replace the fans for smaller fans. I think most people will work with what they've got because they either like the noise profile, the silence. They are really quiet, and even like CAF's F15, which I reviewed, what's that, nearly 3 years ago now, that's got the 200mm fans. That case gets abused, literally gets abused on a daily basis. Dirt, crap, all sorts going in there. And the fans are still going strong and still doing a good job of cooling. So they've kind of stood the test of time. They are quite a good fan. I really like it.
It's just waiting for the next vacuum blower thing.
Yeah.
I'm just getting it ready for it.
I'm wondering if, I think if I put a SATA power to that, they're not going to spin. They might light up, but they're not going to spin, which is unfortunate. Anyway, let's move round to the, actually, let's have a look at this panel. So yeah, this is really quite restricted, this front panel. So obviously solid glass there. You've got the mesh, which looks like there's a lot of it, but actually behind the mesh there's additional filtration and also kind of lots of little plastic channels and bits and bobs, which is a shame. Anyway, let's stick that back on. While we're actually here, let's have a look at the I/O, if you can see that. So there's a reset button in the top here, which has been repurposed to go to the RGB controller. You've got your speaker and microphone, USB 2.0, USB 3.0, another USB 3.0, you've got a Type-C connection there, hard drive LED, and on this side there's a power LED, another P LED. Oh, so there's two power LEDs. Oh yeah, because you've got quite a cool little power bus on the side there. So power switch and two LEDs to run that. Probably a little bit more than what it actually needs, but kind of nice at the same time. Flipping out. So let's have a look inside. So hopefully, oh yeah, they haven't been done up too tight. Oh, they have. I'm not going to give in.
Poor rival said.
Not captive.
Looks like the same controller as the Thermaltake Level 20 MT. That case was prone to overheating. So many videos of people adding 1-inch standoffs to the glass.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me actually. So the tempered glass side panel on this is clear, as much clear as it can be, and that looks like it's 4mm, I think. I'd imagine it is, and it looks like it's got a metal surround. Actually, no, it hasn't. I thought that the surround was metal and bonded all around, but it's not actually. There's a separate piece there, there is a join in between them, like a gap. So these have just been bonded on with kind of basically tape, double-sided tape, which is probably still sticky underneath there. So it is what it is, I guess. There's not really a lot you can do. I was going to measure that, 4mm. Pretty sure it's 4mm. Yeah, 4mm. Doesn't really make a great deal of difference, I suppose, but some people like to know.
While Bill's in, but he's 30 minutes behind.
Hello, Wild Bill. So, can you see inside there okay? I'll take it that you can.
Delayed.
So drive caddies which are exposed. Like, who was it who said that earlier? Didn't like exposed drive caddies?
I think it was Jan.
That's Jan. Okay, so our accessories box here. I'm not expecting a great deal of excitement in here, because you wouldn't. But plastic caddies. There's no rubber grommets or anything in there, so hopefully there's going to be some in here.
Otherwise, use those USB ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Repurpose the USB blanking plates. I need a knife.
You need a Swiss Army knife.
What have we got in here? So, BIOS speaker, that's always handy. Screws, nuts and bolts, etc. There is a... that is to connect to your motherboard. So that is the 5 volt adjustable RGB. So that plugs into the back of the controller, then goes into the motherboard. There's a couple of plastic standoffs there. That's going to be for your vertical GPU mounting setup here to support this bracket a little bit. So yeah, nothing particularly interesting in there. Another caddy on the bottom. So again, 3.5 inch drives or 2.5 inch drives. 2.5 inch drives you'd have to screw into from the bottom. 3.5s, there are no pins in there, so it isn't a tool-free setup, so you need to put some screws on the side to hold it in place, but they're included anyway.
Letter doesn't like drive caddies or basements.
I wonder how easy that is to take out. It looks like there is... Right, so that does come out. There are some screws on the back. 4 screws, unfortunately. Oh, wrong way. 1.
Stuart clearly asked why are new PC cases coming with 3.5 inch caddies? Waste of money.
There are still some people that still do use 3.5 inch drives. Not as many as they would normally, I guess, or it has been, but still do. They sell reasonably well still, judging by what we see on like Amazon sales and all that. So if you want to, modular case there. Another ridiculously tough thumb screw.
Thermal tough.
Thermal tough, yeah.
And also...
So you mount your 2.5 inch drives on there.
Pearl Rival says, how much was the case? They also changed the holes where your radiator mounts. Previously they had 1 inch ovals, not, it looks like 4 inch rectangles. Should make it cheaper to manufacture.
All right, yeah. It does look like they've put a little bit of thought and attention into it, to be honest with you. In terms of, for the fan layouts anyway, that there's more potential airflow for those fans. I just wish that some of these manufacturers would kind of at least maybe speak to people who build PCs, or like other YouTube community people, like higher up the tier, and just say to them, like, this is what we've got on the design table at the moment. What are your thoughts? How can we make this better? Or what would you like to see changed? And I'm almost 100% sure that there are things that could be done to this to make it better. Now, it could be absolutely fine as it is. 200mm fans behind glass is not a good idea, in my opinion. That really does grate on me. Anyway.
No slide-in panels for that piece you just had?
No. These got these slide-in bits, if that's what you mean. So those just slot in. There's nowhere to actually slide it in the bottom, so to speak. There is a little bit of adjustment there, left and right, but only about 4 or 5mm, maybe slightly more. Not a great deal. This all comes out as well, so I'm not going to bother taking all of that out because I think that's a little bit pointless. You can get the general idea. So if you don't want to have a kind of PSU shroud, depending on what power supply you've got and how good your cable management is, you might not even want this. Some people go without. Again, you've got another mounting section there. I feel like they've tried to please too many people with this. It's a nice case, don't get me wrong, but there's so many things on it that are kind of don't really make sense. And you kind of wonder who the target audience is for this kind of case. Because if you're someone who's into extreme water cooling, I'm guessing most of this stuff you're going to rip out anyway. And like the mesh they've put on here, because it's double mesh, the holes could be a lot bigger. It's kind of a little bit crazy what they've done.
The way you've got the case lined up, it's got Mike's unboxing like and sub through the hole.
Oh, through there?
The case highlighting the like and sub sign in the background is looking good.
That wasn't intentional, but that's worked out quite well.
Actual spot on. Look.
That is good, actually. I did a thing. That's happened. Right, let's have a slurp of my tea a minute. And let's have a quick look on the questions.
Poor Rival says, why aren't those caddies white?
The caddies aren't white because it's probably too expensive to get them dyed white, I would imagine, for the target audience. Most people, like one of the other viewers said just now about 3.5-inch drives, was it Stuart Cleary, who has 3.5-inch drives? So
Everyone's the same. Most others have said
yeah,
they do.
a lot of people, I'm guessing, will be just taking this caddy out and just chucking it back in the box for storage. I genuinely think that is likely to be the case. Some might want to keep it there just to balance out this bottom section and just to fill this void. Although a lot of people, if you're doing your water cooling, this is a perfect place for a really tall reservoir pump res combo to go. That would be a really nice place for it to go. You could also put some fans on the bottom if you really wanted to, I guess. But whether or not you'd want to. It's bizarre, the actual bottom bit where you don't really want it to be that ventilated is actually, if I turn it around, you can see the slots there are much bigger with actually much wider mesh ventilation on the bottom. Very strange. This part here is for mounting a vertical GPU, so that is included with 2 support brackets there. So you can mount vertical mounted GPUs in there. They don't supply the cable. Probably a good idea because we're about to go PCI Express Gen 5 on graphics cards, so that's probably going to be another new cable, which is going to be super expensive.
Place for radiator in the top.
Yes, in the top section there is room for a 360mm rad, or 3 120mm fans, or a 280. Got some mesh ventilation there. It's not extremely open, as you can probably see, although it's a lot more open than the front, bizarrely. Strange company. On the bottom, so you've got vents there, removable cheapo plastic, horrible mesh, don't like those. There's a point with a case where when you're paying a certain amount of money, you expect a certain level of kind of equipment level or trim level. And having one of these crappy filters on the bottom, even though you're never going to see it, you kind of think, well, when I'm paying 160, 170 or more for a case, kind of, and the one for the power supply as well, like, come on. On the positive side, nice big feet, nice big rubber blocks on there to stop vibrations coming through and that kind of stuff. So that is, that's a plus. And they're actually raised up off the deck quite a bit. That's got to be getting on for about 35mm. Yep, 30, well actually, yeah, 35mm. That was a pretty good guess. And I didn't read it off the box either, because I don't think it's actually on there. Those can actually be removed if you want to, the plastic feet. There is screws I can see underneath there, so you can unscrew those, take them off if you want to. I don't know why you would, but potentially you can do. What else have we got? So we've got some rubber grommets here for passing the cables through. In this section, this bit here for 3 120mm fans or 360mm radiator in this section here. You can't put a 280 in there because it's just too wide. You'd have to remove. I'm actually saying that. You might even struggle with 120s in there because they put the cable in through the inside of the case rather than outside. Let me get a fan a minute and try it.
Preston Thomas says, talking about the new 4000 series of cards, I think it's recommended to fit the card vertical as they are so big and heavy. I think
Yeah.
that case can do this.
I think vertical mount of the new 4090s is going to be a sensible thing to do. Actually, yeah, looking at that, so that's a 120mm fan for reference. So if you put that there, there is enough room between the front fans and also the rubber grommets. So you could put a couple there, so one there, and one there. Plenty of room, so yeah. 360mm rad on that sidewall. Very similar to what I've got going on up there. That sort of similar look you could work with. Yeah, there's a lot of room actually in the top section as well. So between the top of the motherboard, so where these pillars are here, if you can just make these out. So between those and the actual top of the case, there is 60mm. So what depth are the Cooler Master? Most fans are what, 25mm, aren't they?
You just have white one, Lord Director said.
So 25mm, another 25mm for traditional AIOs, which is 50. So even with the thicker ones, which are the Arctic ones, which are about 7mm thicker. So yeah, even a 280mm Arctic or 360mm Arctic radiator in the top will fit easily and not interfere with your motherboard's VRMs, RAM sticks, anything like that at all. So that is actually very nice. And you've got some nice cutouts at the top there, big panel there. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Lots of potential. I'm genuinely interested to see what this front panel does in terms of airflow. I feel that it's going to be restricted, but I don't know. I have got a power supply and a tester, so I can plug this in and see what they're actually like, which I probably will do later. On the back, 120mm fan, again adjustable RGB, same deal. You can, if you want to, put in a 140 in the back, which is always quite a nice thing to have an option for. Again, the slats, it's not that open. There is going to be airflow there, but it is going to be a little bit restricted because of the design of those slits or slats or whatever you want to call them. I much prefer hexagonal effect if you can on these sorts of things. When you've got the back panel there, obviously that can be rotated, so this whole section comes right out. One screw there, one screw there, one there, one there. So you can pull all that out, a couple of screws there, and there's another actually hidden underneath there. So this comes out and twists around 90 degrees, so you can put in your vertical mounted GPUs, which actually, let's show you that. So that comes off of there. You then got screw there, screw there, screw there, screw there. So that, yeah, slide that out, twist it around, job done. Those are obviously going to be non-captive and removable and replaceable, which again you'd probably expect at this sort of price point.
Tyke says, looks like the Lian Li 215 with some additions. Does it have a front mesh?
There is a front mesh replaceable panel, so if you don't like the glass one, you can opt for this instead, which is, I guess it's not going to be as restrictive. I am genuinely looking forward to seeing what it actually is like. I do like my cases to have airflow, but then I do also like them to have dust filtration. So it's basically trying to find that, you know, that happy medium between it to work out if it's going to work out for you or not. So on the back, I guess we've seen this already. So thumb screws, which are still ridiculously too tight. Still too tight even after that. So removable, usual metal things. So another 2 drives in there. You can, if you wanted to, where this section is here for mounting the fans, if you don't want to put fans in there, you can actually mount 2.5-inch hard drives. So they have put the spaces in. You can see some of the pinouts and cutouts there. So if you want to, you could just put an absolute shit ton of SATA SSDs in there, and that'll do the same sort of job. Yeah, go on.
When you rotate that section For vertical GPU, how do you mount other PCIe cards?
If you want to mount other PCIe cards, if you do the rotation on it, then what you'd have to do is buy a very small PCI Express extension cable. So you can get like floppy cables almost, and you can get them for PCI Express ×1, ×4, ×8, ×16. So you just buy one of those. A lot of the time, people like miners, not young children, but people who mine cryptocurrency, they would have like a ×1 slot go in from the motherboard, flexing around into their rack for the graphics card, because you don't need the bandwidth for the actual graphics. You just need access to the memory, which you can do through a ×1 slot. So those are relatively easy to come by.
You've got your 10 in the way pops.
I'm going to pull all this off. I'm surprised that actually this looks like it has been to another reviewer, but it doesn't appear they've actually done maybe anything with it at all, because it all seems to be kind of vaguely cable managed, like it would have been from the factory. Right, so that is the world's longest USB 2 cable. Where are they expecting you to hook that up to? Your neighbours? I could almost plug it into my own computer.
Plug it into your electric at work.
I plug it into the Works Electric. It's cheaper already. So yeah, front I/O, USB Type C, HD audio, and there is going to be our hard drive LED. The reset switch is plugged into there, like we said. So let's see if we can fire up the RGB on this. I'm interested to see what it looks like. I'm not. I kind of am. Maybe I am a little. Let's plug in the world's cheapest power supply.
Just to give it justice.
Yeah. I'm just thinking actually I might need the world's second cheapest power supply, because I do need possibly 2 SATA connections. Oh, and I've pulled out the PCIe cable from there.
Oh no, after all this time.
This thing's been in so many computers. I'll be sad to see it go, but it is getting to that point. So let's just try the RGB.
What's wrong, Flame
Lucky Man 1 says that's a big one. Pearl Rival says the controllers are prone to failure. Is that Rev 2.0? Good question. I'll have a look. I can't see where it says Revision 2.
Okay.
It says L122 or 2217 if you're reading it the other way around. There's a Y2 on there. I'll see if I can get you a close-up of that in a bit. This is fun, isn't it? Let's see if we can blow this shit up. I'll turn it around that way so you can actually see the RGB goodness.
Show you house poppy.
There's so much crap in the way. But I'm still smiling. Not sure why. So the connection for this for the power is actually on a 3-pin and, well, 4-pin, then to a SATA. So if you wanted to, you could rewire it to a Molex if you've got a spare Molex connection, or adapt it to a Molex should you feel the need. There comes Rick H with $20. It says for a new power supply, Mike. Thank you. I have actually got power supplies down there, but thank you anyway. That is so kind of you. There you go. You get a party sound. Actually, Bob should get one of those as well, shouldn't he?
He should get 2 for his
Bob
birthday.
Bob gets 2 birthday party noises. Is that becoming annoying yet? I'd imagine it would be.
I'm not doing anything nice, Poppy.
Hey, there we go. We have some illumination. And actually, they're.
No. Oh, should I leave them off for that bit, or they
Um,
don't actually shout?
I think that's probably all right.
Ouch.
Do you know what? There's actually a lot of air coming through there
Don't go on the wires, Batman.
in some areas. But you can actually hear. Can you hear the turbulence? Can you hear it? Oh. Front panel went on. So press the reset button on the front and you can cycle through the included RGB styles. Nice white LEDs. That looks pretty decent. James Miscellaneous, I ate McDonald's for the first time in years last week. Poison. Oh dear. Not good. I haven't been there for a long, long time. Sorry, just catching up on the chats there. Dutch Jan says, get the Dremel out. Yeah, can you hear? I can hear a lot of vibration.
I can through my headphones. I don't know, is that?
That was Rick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pearl Rival says, should be beside the Gen 2 black cable. No, it doesn't say.
Fans look cool, you can hear it, but isn't that at full blast?
That is running at full blast, to be fair. But the problem isn't the fans, the problem is its turbulence. It feels really choppy.
Pearl Rival says they've added RGB to the rear fan, which they didn't in the other.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, I can't see this. It looks like it's a new designer board, I think. It doesn't see there's any Rev 1 or Rev 2 or anything on that. There's something written on there, but I can't really see it. In fact, it's in such a weird position, I can't even tell if I'm reading it around the right way or not. We'll assume it is. Right, anyway. So white LEDs, then we got the... what colour is that? I would say it's not pink. It's like a magenta. Is that magenta, pink, or purple? Yay! Unicorn puke flashing. And red flashing. Yellow, green, blue, or magenta. So that is magenta. No, cyan that is, isn't it?
Randy asked,
that's blue.
Do you think you'll get a look at the HYTE Y60 mid-tower case?
Not sure. I think heights are mostly just US. I've not seen them in the UK at all yet. But maybe if they start distributing over here, possibly. Aren't they? I'm trying to think. They're part of... Height is part of another company, isn't it? Which makes PCs in America. Can't think of the company now. But yeah, if they start doing PCs in the UK, then I would hope to see them. And there's static rainbow puke.
Barry Cartwright. I have unicorn puke RGB on mine.
Ah, there we go. Unicorn puke. Love it. Are they all going in the same direction? I can't see. You'll have to tell me. Or is the back one going in the opposite direction? Or are they actually? No, it actually looks like it's.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's actually in sync as well, isn't it? Which, considering the size differences of the fans, is quite impressive. Normally they are completely out of sync. Right, let's see if the noise profile changes if I take off this front panel. Because that'll give us an idea of how restrictive this actually is.
Mr. E, is leaving the glass side panel off the case good or bad for cooling?
Leaving a side panel off can be good and it can be bad. It depends on the rest of the system and where the airflow's going. If you take the side panel off like we've got here, the airflow can basically just dissipate wherever it wants. And there's no static pressure. So your exhaust isn't really exhausting and your intake isn't really intaking. So actually having a sealed box where there aren't fans is generally a better thing, because then it can kind of funnel the air through, which generally keeps things a little bit cooler. But yeah, there's no... Wow. The airflow now is much, much better.
Do you want the other light on yet?
No, I think that's all right at the moment. I need to try it again, so I'm going to put the front panel on now. This is a completely ridiculous test,
that over here.
but I want to get an idea of how restrictive this is. You can actually hear it, can't you? Can you hear the noise profile?
Yeah, I can. I by power is height, is that what you call it? Wind meter with front on and off.
I do have a wind meter. Who suggested that? That was a very intelligent thing.
Matthew Day.
Matthew Day, God bless you, Mary Poppins. Where's me? I'm a monitor. There he is. Now, in theory, wind flow isn't a particularly accurate way of kind of working out how much air there is. Really, you'd need some sort of like sealed thing to work out the actual volume of air rather than just the speed of it. But generally, the faster air travels, the better the cooling. So if you think of wind chill factor, if you go out on a freezing cold day and it's not very windy, you're absolutely fine. And if the sun's shining, it's actually probably quite nice. But if you go out on a very cold day and it's windy as well, the wind chill factor bites and it gets very, very cold. And the same is applicable to inside a PC. So let's, what do we want? Miles per hour? Let's do units, meters per second, kilometers, foot per minute, knots, miles per hour. Let's do miles per hour. I'm going to do min max. And let's light that bad boy up. And which way does that go? So that is going that way. So we'll put it there. Pretty much bang dead center in the case. And if I move that out of the way now, so our maximum reading there, turn the light on, was 3.8 miles per hour. So that's basically running speed if you're a human being person. So let's now try with the front panel on. I do need a lab coat, don't I? I'll be more likely to get a janitor's coat. Right, let's do min max again.
Why is there not a review of the blade tester?
Good question. I can already see that that is not pushing those blades hardly at all. Sorry, put my hand in the way. That was a poor form. .3. There you go. Don't know if you can.
Monsters would give better resolution. Is that kilometers meant to be?
Kilometers. All right, we can try kilometers if you like. I don't mind. Kilometers per hour. So let's try that. So let's do min max. Put it in the same position again.
For arrival, can you put the side covers on and retest?
I can do that. Actually, no, I can't at the moment.
Old man Withers would be tempted after a good curry and a couple of pints to mess around with the wind meter.
Right, so that is with the front panel on. Yeah, 1.8 kilometers per hour. Let's see.
Should it be meters per second?
I can do meters per second if you wish. I'll do meters per second. I don't. No, I haven't got meters. Oh yeah, meters per second I've got.
What was the first reading?
1.3 miles per hour, or 1.8 kilometers an hour. So if we do meters per second, reset that, and we'll go for maximum.
I think they meant on the other side.
Oh, right.
Without the thing on.
I'll give you all three readings, it's probably easier. That is basically not spinning at all. I wonder if that... I can feel the air dispersing sideways, so maybe the side panel on. If maybe not the back one, but maybe the side one, that might make a bit of a difference. So with that, we're looking at 0.5 meters per second. It's actually faster here. I'm holding it here on the angle, and this has gone up to 1.8.
Stop talking. Do it.
You miserable bastard.
I'm only joking.
No, you're not. That's the trouble.
I can feel it from here. It's cold.
Right, let's see if I can put it... I'll put it in through the other hole.
Lord of Rectus is in.
Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Lord of Rectus will get all overcome with emotion. Right, let's try that again. Right, I'm going to go for miles per hour. I know where I stand with miles per hour. Oh. Clearly, again, this isn't the most accurate of tests, but it is going to give us some indication, because there's nothing really it's not as if the fans are pushing out a lot of air on this side section. And actually the fans stopped moving, I think. That doesn't bode well at all. Screw you, hippie. Maybe if I put it there. Ugh. Yeah, that's much better. That's spinning like a good one. But that is not particularly what we're after, is it? So that's at that point there, that is 2.2 miles per hour. So I'll take the front panel off again and I'll measure it from the same place. You get a general idea. It's basically, I would argue, not very good for airflow. Which way? That way round. So if I can get it back in there again. You can hear by the noise of the fans that it's much, much better.
How much hassle is it to change the mesh cover on it?
2.4 miles an hour. Oh, is that already set? That's what we had last time, wasn't it?
Maybe you need your LED outfit on to make it better.
Yeah. Need something on it. Yeah, actually, how does that front panel change out? There's only 4 screws. Do you want me to change out the front panel? Let me know in the comment section if you wish me to do that. And we had 2.4 before. No, that was right. So 2.4 miles per hour in that position. That doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah, they do.
I'm going to put it there because that's roughly where your graphics card's going to be. Thanks, Lord Erectus. That is going to be held for review, sadly. 3.1 miles per hour.
2.2 with panel, 2.4 without.
I'll try the front panel. Right, let's. I'm going to have to turn this off because it's actually driving me slightly mad. That's a little bit too noisy.
Feels warm already.
And Kath's going to be able to hang washing on her nipples if it carries on breezing over her like that. Right, I need to put something underneath this. We have a mount. Can you turn that other light on now? Sorry.
You're not sorry.
No, right.
You're
Right.
not sorry, is he Fox?
Let's swap this bad boy over.
Grab his phone in your way. Wait, up.
I forgot this isn't magnetic. Should have put my magnetic bit. Oh, that's not the screwdriver thing, is it?
Do you have any standoffs and perhaps longer screw of the same thread pattern? Because that's Pearl Rival's plan.
Sorry, do I?
Have any standoffs and perhaps longer screw of the same thread?
Oh, what, for this front panel?
Yeah.
I don't actually, but that is probably a good idea. Yeah, just to maybe put some plastic spacers just in front and some long. You could use, these are just effectively, they're so excuse me, they're effectively self-tapping screws. So as long as you get ones which are kind of similar looking but longer in length, you could use those easily and then add a little bit of length to the front, so to speak. And yeah, you could give it a couple of inches or give it an inch all round. And I think it'll actually look all right. You shouldn't really have to though, but I hear what you're saying. PH2. Any Italians in tonight? Want to mention anything about the football?
There was an Italian earlier.
I'm sorry, I can't use that. I'm going to have to use my screwdriver. That's better.
You so much better then.
I do so much better, yeah. I think the problem is actually that these screws are genuinely... Ah, actually there is a stumbling block because at the bottom there is like a hook bit. So there's only 4 bits where it actually screws into. There you go. I've improved your design already, Thermaltake. No need to thank me. Adam, I'm sorry if you're watching. You're going to have to watch it anyway, I know, because that is your job. You have to watch what reviewers say about your stuff. So that slots into the bottom, first of all. There's that. Yeah, that's good. Christ, that's heavy. A bit of screwy. Doesn't feel like it actually wants to fit in there, to be honest. Maybe I've done something wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Actually, yeah, that doesn't fit, does it? Okay, so it is a rather snug fit. Actually, I might be able to do this on the overhead if that is actually working. Yeah,
Design over function.
It is a triumph of design over function, whoever said that.
Yeah,
There we go. Christ almighty. Right, this don't want to fit. Screw you, Thermaltake.
looks slightly different colour as well, but that's just the angle side for me.
Right, that genuinely doesn't want to fit in there.
Why did this keep turning off?
There we go. Is that actually... Right, that'll do. I think they've, it's got some really tight engineering tolerances. You probably could do with a little bit of plastic being shaved off, to be fair. I don't think you'd want to do this too many times because those screws are actually quite short and you might actually find yourself damaging the plastic, although saying that if you did you could probably just glue it. Don't tell me, Lord Erectus. What's Lord Erectus saying now? He's
sorry.
still he still wants to hide. Do you know what? Actually, of all those extra messages that came through from not from Facebook, from YouTube, the ones which are hidden or kind of, you know, just the ones held for review, that sort of stuff. Yeah, 99% of them were from one person.
And he did keep saying, "Where's all his messages gone?"
So when you said, "Where have all my messages gone?" We now know it's because they were obscene. You can't say cock on YouTube.
Right, question. So now there is a mesh on it.
Now there is a mesh. As you can see. Actually, that looks... I prefer the look of that. What do you guys... Oh,
You
shit.
can't see it.
I'm on the wrong camera.
I don't know why I looked at
Sorry.
and then looked at that one.
What do you think? I think that looks... I think that looks much better. I didn't think it would, but I think it actually does. Let me know what you think in the comments. Comment, because it's all good.
They got the clear glass right. The negative is still the intake.
Right, Max and...
The glass mounts from the rear, so we can't shim it much, if at all.
Yeah. Right. Any guesses? We had 2.4 meters per second with it previously. 2.9. So that definitely allows more airflow. Unsurprising. So, what did we have before? 3.4 was the max with the front off, wasn't it? So there is still some restriction there.
I'll leave that to Pearl rival.
Not too bad.
Or they were doing stats. You tell them. And
I actually quite like the look of that. I didn't think I was going to, but I kind of do.
better than the glass.
have a look. I'm going to turn the lights down a minute, just so you can see see it a little bit better.
Lord Aractus, I received 80 of them as replies yesterday from you.
Yeah, see, 80.
No.
Sorry, can you do that? There we go. That looks actually quite nice. I quite like that. That's a much better look, in my opinion.
William
Although the T's are a little bit T-rific, aren't they? Oh, that front panel ain't on.
Some, it was Jay Gordon said it went on. William Bodie question, without the glass, is there any mesh on it now?
There is mesh, yeah. In between the T's, there's fine mesh. So that is going to stop dust getting in there. So this is probably the better compromise because you've got the option of more airflow.
Not giving it justice, to be honest.
It isn't actually, is it? No. The white balance on the camera has gone absolutely ballistic. What's going on now? That's a slow fade, isn't it? Ooh. It's actually quite a nice effect, isn't it? The fans are still noisy as all hell.
Barry says no bad.
Right, so you've got all the lighting, which does the fade in and fade out. And then you've got the solid. And then you've got the fade in, fade out again. Off. And back to standard unicorn puke. But it is, the fans are loud for what they're putting out. Ooh. Sorry, Adam. Again. Oh god.
Lights?
Yeah. You're not going to be able to get us that one, are you?
Yeah. I get splinters
though. So, intriguing. Now there is actually the fan controller there.
William Bodie's PC case screamed winter is coming.
Winter is coming, yeah. This could be part of a winter build. I think I prefer this version. I'd like to have seen this just all cut out though, and just be mesh. But I guess the thing is, if you're water cooling, you don't need that airflow. And Thermaltake are very much a water cooling focused company. So you'd have the fans turned down very low anyway, because you wouldn't really need them to be spinning at full blast all the time. I'm trying to work out what they've done with this wiring. There's something very, very peculiar with this wiring. I don't know what is going on there. I hate that when the wires aren't the same length, because they are supposed to be the same length, but there's like loads of extra cable there because they put one of them through the wrong slot. I'm going to have to take all that apart. Right, anyway, any more questions about this case while we've got it out? I'm going to turn it off because that's actually making my hands cold.
But it was not alright for me to be cold.
Alright, I'll give you that.
It was pretty cold.
Where's that little bag of screws? That was there, so I'm going to put that...
Can we win the glass?
Can you win the glass?
Wim.
Wim?
Trim, is it?
Shim?
You might be, yeah.
Yeah, you probably could do. Yeah, you could probably shim the glass a little bit. The glass front panel. Actually, no, I think it might be bonded. Yeah, it looks like the glass is bonded in, so there's not really a great deal you could do with that. I suppose, like, because it's only stuck in the glass, you could, if you wanted to, debond it from the surround, put in some plastic spacers around the outside edge, maybe a couple of mil thick, and have the glass stick out proud. It's, I don't know, probably more than I would be happy to do, I think. I'd probably be more likely to remove the glass entirely and put some white mesh on the front. But then there's mesh around the sides. They've made this really awkward, they really have. Especially for me as someone trying to review it and trying to put a relatively positive spin on it, but
Can you show the
I'm struggling.
points?
For
The glass.
the mounting points, there aren't really, well, the screws go through one there. Where is the other one?
Is the other camera better?
Oh yeah, sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and at the bottom there's these plastic lugs. So you're kind of not going to be able to support it in terms of this bit being actually much further away from the front of the case, because otherwise you're going to have to find some way of mounting it at the top, at the bottom where these plastic bits are. You probably could make it stick out a little bit from the front with some, maybe some 3D printed stuff. Maybe
maybe just
actually the shims could probably work out. So
glue gun it to that one.
if you had like a Noctua cooler, you know, you get those little noodles which go over the CPU cooler back plate when it comes through, the threads go through, and you get those in like grey, black or white. If you put a couple of the white ones over the top of the screw holes there, and then put longer screws through, you could get the whole front panel to stick out probably a good 4 or 5 mil, which would probably be enough to reduce the drag of the airflow.
You couldn't really see.
Or it might start whistling like crazy. I don't know.
Can you show a close-up of the...
I can't really, I don't think, can I? There you go, that might do it. So let's go to the overhead. So, I don't know how well you can see that. Let me see if I can focus in a little bit better. So, there is a hole there. You see my finger is there. There's a hole there at this end, hole there, and a hole there. And then at the bottom we've got these clips which go in, slot in. So put the like little round noodles over the top of that one and that one, and maybe kind of hot glue one maybe there, and get some longer versions of these screws. That would probably do it, I think. I don't know. I personally would feel uncomfortable modding the case too much, personally, because I'd rather just have a case that worked out of the box. But if you've already got it, or you've got the older version and you want to modify it a little bit, then I guess that would be one way of doing it. There you go. Hopefully that, does that make sense? I hope so. I'm going to put this back in here now and start boxing this back up. And then we can start talking about something else, such as PCI Express Gen 5 and NVIDIA graphics cards, which are ridiculously expensive. Which, no doubt, Welly Bob will buy one, just because he wants to play 4K games at ridiculous frame rates. Welly Bob, you still in the conversation, or have you gone to sleep? If you're still there, I'd love to hear your answer. I think Welly Bob will go for it. I'm not too sure. Oh, this is not working out well. I'm not too sure who else really the 4090 is designed for. If really anybody. It seems to be one of those Halo products which is kind of just really, really bloody expensive and with very few benefits to it. And especially if you're an early adopter. Something I haven't shown already, that is the side panel for this case. So on the side where you can mount the radiator, on the inside obviously you've got more mesh. And look, this is how you do mesh properly. This is hexagonal mesh. It's very strong, it works very well, and it has extremely good airflow. Why could you not have done that there? That would have been it. If you'd have done that there,
Welly Bob is still on
perfect case.
I'm seriously considering it.
I don't understand why Thermaltake do these things. Oh, so frustrating. There we go. I think we're back. Are we back? Sorry about that. My trusty, well, I'm actually not going to say trusty because I hate the bloody thing, but the my HD60S from Elgato, every single time I move it or touch it, it plays up like crazy. Is it still working? Your screen's not come back on.
Yeah, mine's delayed.
Ah, right, okay. No, that's right then.
Because it keeps turning my PC off and that power saving rubbish.
Turn it off. I've told you 100 times how to do it. Oh, I told you a million times. Sorry about that. Yeah, my Elgato capture card basically is got a really dodgy USB Type-C connection. So if anything touches it or it moves, it loses connectivity. And I've tried my own fix method, which was on my own video on how to fix a USB Type-C, but it doesn't work. I've dropped it a few times, to be fair. So it's not entirely an Elgato problem. It's more of a Mike, you're a moron problem. So anyway. Pearl Rival says the controller doesn't regulate speed. Do the fans have PWM connectors? The controller does regulate speed. There is a PWM output from it, which you plug into the motherboard. And because it wasn't plugged into a motherboard, obviously it's just running at full whack. So normally it would do that. Christ, these screws are on tight. Tight like a tiger. Get in, you swine. Lucky Man says, oh no, asshole back. Down in that hole. Right, let's get this thing packed away.
You probably missed it.
Pearl Rival says, can I see that controller, lol? Seeing as you have got a genuine interest in this case, I'm going to show you. I'll spin it around so I can actually get to that a bit easier. So, actually, I'll get the camera and I'll do a zoom. A zoom on it. So you can see it, hopefully. Although, actually, saying that, Poppy's there, so I might not be able to... Oh, actually, no, I don't really want to move it. Let me see if I can get it closer to you without destroying the cat. So I don't know if that's going to focus on there. It might do. Is it focusing?
Seems to be.
So there's the controller. So there is your additional output, for a fan. And down here is the fly lead. So that's a 4-pin PWM. So that's how you regulate it. So that plugs into the motherboard. And one of these headers is the outgoing RGB feed. And one is an incoming RGB feed from a motherboard. So there you go. 4-pin PWM connection. And then that regulates speed. Stupidly, it regulates the speed of all the fans, even though the 120s are clearly going to spin at a different RPM than the others. But Thermaltake, hey, not always the brightest bunch. There's very few companies, to be fair, that actually do fan controllers and hubs and all that stuff, actually do a particularly good job, if I'm honest. There's one or two. Again, that's why I'm very impressed with that the Colink Citadel ATX, because it just works. Everything that is meant to work works, and it's got plenty of room for all the stuff you want to put in it. And it's actually got a PWM controller which actually does PWM as well. And all the fans are the same size, which makes life considerably easier. Right, let's take that side panel off. We chuck everything back inside. How exciting. Oh, pissing out. Sorry, excuse my French. I didn't put the drive cage back in and the screws. I don't want to lose any bits, because I know what will happen if I don't put this away properly, and then when I come to actually do the review or even send the bloody thing back, it's going to be like, oh, where do I leave those bits? Where does this bit go? Where's the mounting hole? There we go. Right, let's have a look through the window and see what is going on there. James and James are having their own little conversation. Hope you're being nice. Turtle Power. Who are they talking about? Oh, Turtle Power. That'll be Mr. Holzman. Billy K says Leanne Lee for the win. Good, good. I quite like Leanne Lee cases. I think like most of the kind of YouTuber favourites, that Leanne Lee is like the others where they're a little bit overhyped, to be honest with you. They're nice cases, don't get me wrong. I don't think they are kind of god tier cases. They have some nice features. The new one, the Leanne Lee is it Lamboy 3 or Lancool 3, whichever it is now. That actually looks quite interesting, I'll be honest. Do quite like the look of that one. But like with all the things, I think the Leanne Lee cases got very expensive here in the UK around the time of the old what's it thing going on.
Too far. Rival, how do we install the PSU? Looks restricted.
PSU,
We will do it.
you can slot it in, so you can either remove this entire cage and then put it in and put it in after, or you can put it in through.
So you don't have to have that basement thing in.
No, this basement comes out, so that unscrews. So you just, I think it's 3 screws, and then you can just pull that basement out altogether. Or if you have the drive cage out, you can slot it in that way. And normally they have like a removable bit on the back for power supplies, but they don't seem to have done it on this particular version. I'm not entirely sure why.
But you will do a full review of this.
There will be a review of this in depth, in full. Although, if I get pissed off of it, I might turn around in the video and say, if you want to see the full details on this case, then please refer to the stream we did. But we'll see. But yes, we are still in search of the perfect computer. Oh, sorry, the perfect PC case.
Mike, what is the PSU clearance in millimetres? Thank you.
PSU clearance? In which direction? They're saying on the box it says 200mm is the power supply size. If that is helpful in any way. I can measure it. I'll be with you just in a moment.
Lancool 3, my daughter has it. Great case. Billy.
Yeah, I quite like the look of the Lancool 3. One day, when I grow up, I might get one of them. Do you find that funny when you think of, like, you used to say that when you're younger, oh, when I grow up I want to do this, I want to do that. And now you actually find yourself that you're grown up. And it's pretty scary. Because you haven't done half the things you said you were going to do. La la la, that's fine. View 300s. I wonder if it's got any power supply information in here. Don't think it has. No, VGA length, max cooler height. Oh, PSU max length 200mm, and there are an additional 70mm between the power supply and so 200mm is kind of there, and to the end there is 270. If that's helpful. Hopefully it is. Right, stick that in there. I think that's pretty much done. I think personally I actually preferred the P6, the Thermaltake P6, which we had, the turquoise one, which potentially we might be getting back again. Adam from Thermaltake has been running some ideas through, and they are talking about doing a giveaway for Mike's Unboxing viewers of the Thermaltake P6 turquoise case, and also a couple of sets of the new, what are they called? The Swafans. So that's kind of, well, £250 case plus probably about another 200 quid's worth of fans. So yeah, stay tuned. That could be very, very cool. And it would be in the P6 because the P6 is massive and has basically unrestricted airflow because it's kind of an open case. All right, let's try and get this back in the box. This is going to be embarrassing for everybody involved. Mostly me. Put my screwdriver away. Carry on talking amongst yourselves. What's the deal there? So,
Billy says you got to get a LAN Cool 3 for review.
Billy K, I will do what I can. Trouble is, if I like it, I'll end up swapping my PC out into yet another case.
And he hates doing that.
I do. That does stress me out more than it should. You can see what I'm working with here because I've got literally no room. This place is tiny. Well, this place isn't tiny, but this room is. We're probably better off turning this into our bedroom and putting the studio in our bedroom. Although, it'd be weird coming downstairs to go to bed.
And you'd have George in the background.
God, yeah. George in the background going, I can't even say it. Have a slurp.
Oh, but it's not so far for you to come and nuggle, is it, Pops, if we were down here?
Solid metal. Oh God, I've tried.
Oh, Adam's
Adam? Which Adam?
Thermaltake Adam.
Thermaltake Adam's not on, is he?
You were the first to have it, buddy. Adam.
Oh,
Assuming.
Adam Mods. Is that Mr. Thermaltake himself? I have mentioned your name a few times, so if your ears are burning, my apologies. And you probably joined at the right time because we're just about to put it away. Or at least try to, because this thing's flipping huge. Right, that must be the bottom. So therefore that should be the top. That is that way around. I'm getting quite good at reboxing now. Oh, Jesus. There goes the old back. Cheers, Bob. Well, which way round does this go? I'm guessing that way. I guessed wrong. It was a 50-50. Right. Let me see if I can get this back in the case. In the box, rather.
Wait till this go.
Wait for that to go. Lord Director says I have the P3. Awesome stuff. Pearl Rivals asking, what is the US price? That is a very good question. There should be a link in the video description for scan.co.uk. I'm not sure whether they'll ship to the US. I wouldn't have thought so, to be completely honest with you. There's that bit there. Awesome. It's like bloody new.
There's a cat in there, we're sorry, Adam.
Do you want to slide that into the hallway? Can you do that? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Bless you.
Does it need sellotape over them?
Yeah, actually, it's probably not a bad idea. Let me move the camera there again. Thank you. Right. Oh, sorry, headphone users.
Oh, Poppy Dora, what was that?
Right, let's get back to normality with the camera in the right place, which might be a little bit on the high side now. Oh well. Sunflower got me. Mandalorian mouse mat. Happy days. Thank you very much. Oh, no, your mouse isn't working. Mouse working? Oh, there he is. Awesome. Right. James Brock says, how can we sleep where our beds are burning? Or where our ears are burning? Let me see if I can find the US price for you on that. So Thermaltake View 300 MX. On Amazon.com. Looks like Thermaltake, they've only got the... Yeah, the weird thing, they've got a TG version on Amazon.com currently. Let's have a look at pricing. So there is a black and a white. Trying to see prices. Nothing there. Sorry. Let's try Vortez.net. I haven't seen their site for ages. Because there was a press release about this case on the, I think it was the 28th of last month. So...
Oh, they're all screaming with their ears.
Ah, right. So Thermaltake View 3000 MX, US street price is $159.99, and for the Thermaltake View 300 MX in snow, $159.99. So same price regardless of which version you go for, which is actually pretty cool. So that is the estimated American pricing. If we look at the UK pricing,
Germany for William Booty.
I'll see if I can find it. UKthermaltake.com. I did find it. Oh, Scan, there we go. Scan.co.uk. Scan have currently got it listed at $209.99. They're saying that it's not actually due into stock to them until the 11th of November 2022. So that is the price from Scan. Adam, if you're in the chat still, it would be very handy if you could confirm the UK pricing. That would be great.
€220 in Germany, Dutch Jan said.
Alright, Dutch Jan's found it for €220. So that sounds kind of similar sort of pricing as I'd expect. At the moment, because we're in a really weird position where the US dollar is basically kind of almost 1 for 1 with the pound and the euro. So Americans at the moment have got really good pricing, but the dollar's worth less, bizarrely. I'm not sure how it quite works, but yeah, Americans seem to be getting some very good price.
Or compared to what we get.
Right, yeah, James Brock is saying to Pearl, $160. Rick H said that a little bit earlier. Awesome stuff. Cooley. Sweet Jesus, that was painful, said Ugly Pop. Blind Bard's in with us as well, says my ears. Sorry. Awesome stuff. So, yeah, thank you for that. Dutch Jan, if you can post a link to the Germany. Actually,
right dot or something.
Let's try Amazon.de and see if it is on Amazon.de. Thermaltake View 300 MX. There we go. Yes, I'd love to have some cookies.
Idealo.
Yeah, I can't see it on Amazon at the moment, so Idealio, apparently. Blind Bard's hanging out in the voice chat of the Discord, hoping to get others to join. Yes, please do join our Discord and have a chat. Yeah, I can't see on Amazon. By the time the review goes out, we'll have the links for, well, as many places as we physically can. Let's see if there's any other places that are selling it here in the UK currently. I don't think there is. It is a very new case. Shopping, so Thermaltake.
I normally find it on Amazon.
Yeah, eBay USA got it for 172 plus taxes. So yeah, I think it's
£389.
£389. Who sent that? Anomaly. No, it's not £389. Where's the link? I've got it actually in the link of the video.
The Scan one?
Yeah.
They're saying they found it on Amazon.
Oh, right, on Amazon. A lot of Amazon's prices these days are just placeholder prices, so I would ignore most of those. James Brock says an easy pass for $160. It doesn't seem, well, I guess in terms of what you'd normally get of a case of that sort of size and with the extra front panels, it kind of is about right. If it was £160,
Poppy.
it would make sense. Poppy, guys! Oi! Oh, you swine. Right, William Bodie is saying, yeah, €200 is the best price on Idealio. No doubt, obviously this is a brand spanking new case, so it is likely to have some reductions in the coming kind of days, weeks, months, etc., depending on how quickly you're after it. David Underhill, how you doing, David? Says sells for $289 or 172 USD. That sounds about right. Sounds about right. Okay, so let's talk about the graphics cards. Actually, should I? Can you grab that power supply from the other room, please? Sorry, I would do it myself. You could sit here for a bit.
Okay.
She said, no, I'll get it. Let's talk about graphics cards and how pissed off we are at Nvidia. This is going to be a very, very expensive winter period, I feel, for graphics cards, motherboards, processors, and sadly power supplies as well. With these new graphics cards, if you do want to, Bobby, if you do want to invest in the latest Nvidia creations, potentially you might need one of these. Good old Adam, Thermaltake UK, has also sent us over this to do an unboxing and check out. So this is Thermaltake's GF3 1350 watt power supply, and I'm going to have to put it down in a minute because it is bloody heavy. This thing is the best part of 2 kilos, so it is kind of almost like workout material in there. It really is. This is Thermaltake's new answer to the RTX 4090 and 4080. So this is natively supporting the power requirements from that graphics card straight out of the box. Now, for those of you that haven't seen it already, there is a very new and very unique connection. A lot of people are potentially looking at these new graphics cards coming out from Nvidia and thinking, I'd quite like to get one of those. You probably aren't, but if you... What's that?
Adam saying it's Scam Computers UK.
All right, Scam, thank you. I think the link is in there. I thought I saw it a little cheaper than that previously, but I was possibly mistaken. So this power supply is a monster. It genuinely is. It's got 4 outputs for graphics cards. So it comes with 3 cables as well. So if you want to put 450 watts into a computer, you can do. This is extremely well packaged. I do love the packaging on this. So this is the Tough Power GF3 1350 watt. Look at the connectivity on the back. This thing is an absolute beast. So there is, in this corner here, which you might be able to see, if I'll put it a little bit closer, hopefully it will focus in on that at some point. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, I don't know. Possibly it will do. Yeah, awesome. So there is a connector on there called 12VOH power, or sorry, 12VH power. So that's high power 12 volt output. So that is a 12 plus 4 connection, or 16 pin connection. Now next to that, you've got CPU stroke PCIe. Now there is actually 5 of those connections in total. So each one of those is going to be outputting 150 watts. So if you've got a graphics card that's got 3 8 pins on, you can use the 3 8 pins. What am I looking at?
GF3 1350 watt.
Yeah. GF3 1350 watt. A beast, an absolute beast. Now, if you don't want 1350 watts, which you may not want, there is a bigger one. There's a 1650, but also they do some smaller ones as well. So there's a 1200, there's also a 1000 watt, an 850 and a 750. Sadly, 750 is the lowest they go to on these at the moment, because I'm guessing of the power requirements for the actual graphics cards. So bear that in mind. Hello Poppy, how you doing? What is it about this power supply? She loves this power supply. When I had it out earlier and I was filming the video, she was all over the thing. Anyway, so there is a little... What are you doing? I know, you can't have it. It's my power supply. Nick, it is. My power supply.
No. Don't bite the wires.
Oh, you're getting her excited, eh? Chuck her out in the garden.
Too mean.
So, on the back,
Just line your blanket.
new style power connection. Kettle leads need not apply. You can't use a kettle lead on this. Doesn't work. Doesn't physically fit. Do need to use a special power supply cable. You've got smart zero fan, so you can set it so that if it's under 30% load, the fan just won't spin. If you set it to smart fan being off, then it basically runs all the time, but in a very low power mode. The 12 volt or the 12 volt high power is a very unusual looking connector, and they do include one of these. Now, Adam may be able to actually confirm this or deny it, that these should be available as a separate individual purchase from Thermaltake UK, Thermaltake around the world, I'm guessing. And probably for good reason. These are the new PCI SIG PCI Express Gen 5 cables. And as you can see...
How big in millimetres is that?
I'm going to try and get this into focus for you. So you can see there is an additional couple of pins on the end there. So the new NVIDIA graphics cards, is that focusing?
I think so.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that looks okay, doesn't it? Okay, you get the general idea. So 12 pins, which is kind of the graphics card norm, but also there's 4 additional pins. Now those 4 additional pins are on both ends, and that is sending data from the graphics card to the power supply. And it will identify itself and say, look, this is what power supply I am, this is what graphics card I am, this is how much power I require, this is my, what they call it, surge ratings, all that kind of stuff. So it will basically tell the power supply, kind of, this is what I need, so you might want to reserve this power for me. Whether or not it can do that or not, I don't know, but it is essentially a kind of like a data communication bus between the graphics card and the power supply. Now clearly, if you've got an older power supply, which is only ATX2 spec rather than ATX 3.0, which is what this is, you're not going to have those extra pins. So potentially your graphics card could possibly get damaged by either over voltage, under voltage, prolonged high voltage, melting cables, melting connectors, all that kind of stuff. So this is really going to be a changing point, and as you can see on there, it does actually say 600 watt. So this cable can supply 600 watts of power, and it feels like it can because these cables are very thick. But what is concerning is the pins on the end. The pins are very fine, and from what we've seen, PCI Express SIG, or the kind of the manufacturing body behind the standards, have said that this cable is good for 30 connections. Which is why, potentially, you might want to buy a spare. Because I think these are going to be quite easy to damage. And they don't flex very much. So in terms of cable management, it is going to be very tricky. Like this end piece literally doesn't want to bend. And I don't want to try and force it. And I know people will. So these are going to look weird in PCs. Cable management as we know it, I think, is kind of over and done with. Because there's no flex in it, and this bit actually here is rock solid. So we're used to bending our cables around. You're not going to be able to do this with PCI Express Gen 5 connections. And in theory, you shouldn't use older PCI Express Gen 4 connections on new graphics cards, because potentially you could be doing more damage to your really expensive graphics card. If you just spent £2,000 on a graphics card or 1,600 on a graphics card, the last thing you want is it for it to be damaged. So picking up one of these, this is about £260, £270 here in the UK, which may have been posted already,
James
I'm not entirely sure.
And Adam said his cat was sitting on the box of it before it was sent.
Nice one, Adam. So anyway, there is a quick brief look at this. This is a super nice power supply. Don't get me wrong, this isn't going to be for everybody, because It is, actually I've got to make sure I do this around the right way. So Thermaltake logo that way up. This is actually very cool. I like that a lot. The packaging actually, fair play to Thermaltake. They've done a very good job on the packaging. It is very nice, and I think this would be virtually impossible to get damaged in transit. I shouldn't say that because I've actually still got to send this back yet.
You can send a label.
I'll just send a label. It'll be fine. New style lead for connecting power.
Adam says we have a cable that goes from standard 8-pin PCIe to the new power connector.
Ah, right. Okay. Thank you for that, Adam. That is going to be something which I think is going to catch out people, or is not going to be ideal. So converting a old school PCI Express 8-pin to the modern 12-pin, I personally feel is a recipe for disaster, and I think is going to end with possibly a lot of burnt out graphics cards or a lot of burnt out power supplies. And when you're spending this sort of money on hardware, like if I spent $1,600 on a graphics card, there's no way on God's green earth that I would be using a cheapo power supply, because this is just mental. So yeah, thank you, Adam, for sending over this for us to check out. It's very inspiring actually, because normally with power supplies, like, yeah, it's just a power supply, but the fact this does actually offer something new and different is very cool. And the fact that it's kind of quality components, from what I can gather, this is using
Sound different.
don't know. Is it sound on? No.
I don't know.
Triple chat? No, I don't know. No, it's all good. There we go. Adam saying, we at Thermaltake can supply spare cables, just hit me up. Awesome stuff. So yeah, having a spare PCIe Gen 5 cable on hand, I think for a lot of people, especially those of you like tweaking and tinkering around with your things and taking your PC out, cleaning your graphics card and that, there are going to be a limited amount of times you can physically use the physical connection on PCI Express Gen 5 graphics cards, at least now. I'm imagining if there's a big kind of outpouring of my stuff's broken, my PCI Express Gen 5 no longer fits physically or isn't getting the power it should do, I feel there'll be a revision of it coming out very shortly. Like I said in the review when I filmed this a little bit earlier today, I do still think there will be a lot of graphics card manufacturers which will stick to 3 blocks of 8. Your traditional PCI Express Gen 4 and Gen 3 type PCI Express graphics card connections. But this will do that as well. Each one on its own individual circuit as well, so it doesn't burn out. So that is kind of future-proofing. 1350 watts seems mad, but the way things are going in terms of what CPUs can draw because of all these cores and what they do, and also graphics cards where they're headed, as we've seen from the 4090, this might be the sort of thing we end up putting in our shopping basket more often than we think, which is, yeah, insane. Right, anyway, so that will be a questionnaire from William Bodie saying, will there be reviews on the things of tonight? Yes, there will be. Yeah, this is just basically a first look in kind of, there was other things I could have done in the stream tonight. I have got 2 PCs that I need to build, but I've kind of been doing that and looking at cases and stuff recently and doing builds on the videos. So I figured I've got the case here. It's actually an interesting case. We'll check it out, see what it's like, and obviously the power supply is one of those things which is kind of in vogue at the moment because it's in the news and what have you, and people are talking about it. So yeah, I thought it'd be a good idea to spread the word a little bit more. And Thermaltake, love them or hate them. Obviously, everyone's got their own opinion, who they like and what they use. There's fanboys on every side of the alley. But Thermaltake videos for us as a channel generally do actually quite well. We get pretty decent views in terms of what else we do. MSI also seems very popular. So yeah, we do like to show their products. We don't always necessarily think they're greatest products or the best products, but if viewers want to see it, then certainly we'll take a look at it. Anyway, let's put that to one side and try not to drop it. I don't want to drop it because it's like 2 kilos landing on your feet is not very much fun.
Can you show Poppy on her blanket for William?
Asmal says, great stream guys, speak next week. No worries, thank you mate, and appreciate you sending out the stuff. And if you've not gone over already, Adam actually has his own Facebook group as well about camping and tenting and taking a shit in the woods and that kind of thing. So if you're interested in taking a shit in the woods and living in a piece of cotton with the heavens opening up above you, then check out his Facebook page. Feel free to post it. Yeah, he's going to be... I think he's actually a prepper. He's not too sure whether he's totally into tech or whether he's prepping for the next end of the world scenario. So he's kind of got his feet in both parts, which is awesome. It's good, yeah. Dutch Jan question, is this PSU purely for NVIDIA? No, it's not. Well, at the moment we don't know because we haven't seen the new graphics cards from AMD. I'm kind of guessing that because it's going to be PCI Express Gen 5 on AM5, that they will be going with that physical connector on AMD graphics cards. So at the moment, the marketing kind of angle from Thermaltake, because obviously these graphics cards are known, they're a thing, so they're saying these power supplies are natively supporting NVIDIA's Founders Edition cards out of the box. So you don't need to buy any more cabling, you don't need to worry about adapters, putting 8 different block connectors into one thing and then running a single connector into your graphics card. That isn't something that you need to be concerned with, so that is their kind of selling point at the moment. Kieran Atkinson says the cost of heating is that bad, it might be time to buy a 12900K and a gigabyte PSU to keep warm. Yeah, maybe not a gigabyte PSU because you might keep a little too warm. That's not good. Squibby says, can we download a new cable? I'm sure if you hit Adam up, he will be more than happy to give you a link to download a new cable. Anomaly says the 3090 Ti uses a 16-pin, 3080 Ti uses a 12-pin. They both come with adapters. Yes, I see what you mean there. Yes, they do. Quite ugly adapters in my opinion, actually. Where else have I said? I think I've read all that, so I better catch up. Squibby S says, is ARC really scrapped? It doesn't appear to be. I think that is a kind of a rumour mill thing. I don't think... Well, Intel have got so much money and so much R&D and stuff, they can afford to lose a few billion here and there. It makes no real difference. The shareholders are going to be pissed, but more than likely in the meetings they'll be like, just hold on, it's all good, we'll get there, we just got a few stumbling blocks, we'll get through it, it's going to be fine. Admos says, fully tested and the overvoltage protection kicked in at 1678 watts on that power supply. Now actually I did read, going off topic on the power supply, Thermaltake's own website says that it can, for very, very brief amounts of time, get to up to double the rated wattage. So for those kind of really weird transitional spikes, for really, really brief amounts of time, which is kind of insane if you think about it.
Do you want to make Adam a moderator?
Oh yeah, should do, yes.
And then he can post a link.
Yeah, Adam, I'll put you as a moderator and then you can add links and stuff. Actually, I should do that to so many others as well.
We should go through again, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we will do that. So, where do we get to? Nick Barnes says, surely if the new GPUs and PSUs are indicators price-wise of future releases, then we will all be stuck on AM4 setups. I got to be honest with you, I think you're probably right. I do see that being the case for a lot of people. I've said this before and I'll say it again, regardless of getting this from Thermaltake, I am massively against the increase in wattage and energy usage. Massively. It pisses me off. It really does. And I do feel that if AMD now come out with the graphics card, which uses roughly the same wattage as the previous editions, but is double the speed or triple, they're going to have a winner on their hands. Because there's a lot of people out there that are thinking of energy efficiency and thinking, like, I'm the same here. Literally, I go for a piss, Kath turns the lights out, and she's still in the room. We're trying to cut back.
I need the big lights.
It's studio lights, to be granted, so, but they're, what
And
are they?
it's daytime.
I think they're like 35 watts each, maybe more. I don't
And
know.
it is daytime.
It is daytime, and the blinds are down, so we could do it. But yeah, I think NVIDIA have not read the room at all. At all in the slightest. And actually, to some extent, I don't feel that Intel did with 12th gen. I feel they've gone a little bit too high into the power usage. And obviously, NVIDIA, we know. AMD are looking potentially like they might have gone a little bit power crazy on the processors. We're yet to see what they're like. I'm hoping the TDPs are lower than what the estimated things have been. And I massively hope that AMD graphics cards manage to pull off an NVIDIA and actually reduce power usage significantly. If they do, I think with the market share, if they can get the availability, they can get the power consumption, and they can get to maybe 80-90% of the performance of NVIDIA cards, they are going to absolutely walk it on this next generation. I genuinely think that is going to be the case. The latest cards, if they can do the kind of the NVENC encoding or the equivalent of like AVC, those types of things, maybe even be better at H.264, H.265 encoding. If they can do that, and AMD can market the cards and say, look, we can do what NVIDIA can do, but we do it with much less power. I think they're going to be in a very, very strong position, especially in some of the other markets where energy efficiency is like ridiculously highly like prized, especially like, and imagine places like California is going to get to the point where the California government are going to turn around and say, your PC is using over 1,000 watts, so you have to pay extra tax. Or if you buy a power supply over 1,000 watts, there's your tax, your green tax. It's going to happen. Just a matter of time of when they decide they're going to start taxing the shit out of stuff. But anyway, we will see what we'll see. James Messina says, I trust AMD to screw this up. There's confidence for you straight away. Where this? Yeah, I trust AMD to screw this up. CPUs, they stick the landing. GPUs, as good as they are, they will still find a way to mess it up. I want to be quietly optimistic. I think, I don't know, the timing's right. If they want to make that move and be a kind of a significant player, I think NVIDIA are scared. I think they're genuinely worried, which is why they've increased the power envelope on the graphics cards, because they don't really need to, do they? If NVIDIA were as powerful and as strong as they were, and they want to be, and they've obviously got that thing as well, if you've been the king of the throne for a long time, you don't want to be knocked off your perch. And if that means increasing things like power limits or wattage, you're going to do it just so you don't get knocked off the top spot. It's just the way it is, and NVIDIA is that company, isn't it? We know they are an egotistical company, very much so. So I think they're genuinely worried what AMD's got planned, especially with the chiplet design for the new AMD graphics cards, which, if the chiplet design works as well in GPUs as it does in CPUs, again, it's going to be amazing. So it's actually genuinely exciting times to see what comes out with. Paul Lamont says, wow, how old is Kath with the big light? I haven't heard that for years.
And the good room.
Well, we think, yeah, we have the good room, we have the big lights, and we have the little lights. And in the front room, where we've got our smart lights, there's a little lamp and the big lamp.
But these are studio lights, they're not...
They're big lights, they're studio lights, they're massive.
We don't have like, any lamps in this room.
Yeah.
But it does sound funny, I get that totally.
William Bodie, yes, that is, yes. Kath, I think, has made you a moderator.
I didn't make him a moderator, you must have done.
So you can't, if you don't want to be a moderator, we can remove it. It's entirely up to you. Admod says, I would love to comment more on NVIDIA and AMD power usage. I'd imagine you're under an NDA like a lot of people at the moment. Chris O'Hanlon says, I'm kind of worried about energy costs, yet every time I look at my gas and electricity accounts, I see that I'm £200 in credit for each. That's cool. That's cool.
Ours haven't really gone up much.
Can you explain to William Bodie what it means about the administrator thing? It just means that you can type in links and stuff. So if you find a link to something, you can post a link.
Anything that's held for review, you can agree it or not agree it. But if you don't want to be one,
we can take it away if you don't want it. It's entirely up to you. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. William Bodie says to Paul Lamont, Kath is 25 and Mike is a lucky man.
I wish.
I wish. We wish. Oh dear. Anomaly says, I think Nvidia is going out with a bang. Quite possibly. Quite possibly. James Miscellaneous says, the Excited 4 poll on Tech Power Up is a good indicator that Nvidia is losing faith from PC enthusiasts in the know. I hope that trickles down to the average user. Nvidia is good product, bad value. As we said last week, Nvidia ass ho. And I still maintain that.
That's coming directly from Downend.
That is coming from Downend.
Ass ho.
Downend ass ho says Nvidia ass ho. Squibby says a lot of variable tariffs will get a massive bump from October. For those that have been under a rock, it will be a nice surprise. Ugly Bob says bang. Not too sure why.
Because this Nvidia go out with a bang.
Lucky Man 1 says, no, I'm Lucky Man. I'm confused now.
Because what you just read.
Oh, yeah, he's Lucky Man. Sorry, yeah, got you. Totally understand. Brain was somewhere out there rather than in the real world. Paul Lamont says that's 25 plus VAT and then some. Oh, from Kath. No, that's right, yeah. Yes, so graphics cards. I think, do we find out, is it on Monday or Tuesday that AMD are doing their thing? Or is it, I think it is Tuesday. The 27th on Tuesday? Yeah, I think the AMD announcement is on the 27th, if I'm right in thinking. NVIDIA graphics cards are launching on the, is it the 17th of October? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I still want to see some actual proper benchmarks on the 40 series, 4080 and 4090, to see if it lives up to the hype. I'm guessing it probably won't. And I think in general titles with normal rasterization, it's going to be maybe twice as fast. But we'll see. 12th of October for NVIDIA. Thank you, Adam. William Bodie says Apple bring out a GPU called I Cost Too Much. Yep, that'll be the next version. David Underhill. NVIDIA and Intel may merge. Maybe the reason Intel delayed stopped ARC release. I don't envisage that ever happening. I think Intel, if they wanted to, they could absolutely wipe the floor and probably do quite an aggressive takeover of NVIDIA if they actually wanted the company that much. But if they did, I think due to Intel's position and NVIDIA's position in the market, the Monopolies and Mergers Commission would get involved and it would be kind of NVIDIA and ARM all over again. And obviously ARM is a much, much smaller operation than Intel. So yeah, that was kind of quashed. So I think the same would happen there. I've always thought that Intel and AMD would have been a good combination. Intel very recently. There's a cat in there. There was a cat in there. Hello Maisie, you woken up? James is saying 4080 12 gig is a 4060 Ti at best. Not even a 4070 to me. I'm gonna go work for Ford and rebrand the Taurus to the Ford GT. That's not a bad idea. Old Man Withers says 40 series seem nothing like a tech demo for gamers, probably only useful if you use your GPU to make money. I think the majority of it is. NVIDIA as a company, the graphics card market is a tiny, tiny sliver of what they do, and their real big thing is AI. and all those kind of other things like self-driving cars, virtual reality, even down to like CAD programs and being able to render a 3D thing in real time. That is what they're really looking at. That's where they want to be, because that's where the money is. Like, us peasants buying graphics cards to Nvidia are just a humorous sideline in their portfolio. They are massively, massively tied into big business, big government, big pharma. That's where the money is. So if they can sell a graphics card and they overprice the shit out of it, they're like, okay, it's fine. We've got big pharma over here, we've got big tech over here, we've got Tesla over here with their self-driving cars, we've got our other things going on in the fire, AI programming for servers and rendering farms, all that kind of stuff. That's where their money's coming from. So they don't give a damn about us. And they probably don't even give a damn about graphics cards. If you think of Nvidia being like NASA in the 70s and 80s, and maybe in the 60s, so NASA would design something, and then a couple of years later, it would appear as an everyday thing, like the roller pen or the Bic pen, which could write upside down, or microwave ovens, Teflon coatings on pans. All that kind of stuff has come from some other higher purpose and filtered down. And the graphics cards are no different. So the AI and the learning sampling, which is in Nvidia's cards, has come from some other application altogether. And they thought, well, actually, there's a market for that elsewhere. So we could give that to consumers in the form of a Halo product graphics card. And that's where it comes from. So don't think that there's been boffins designing a graphics card and then suddenly they think, oh, actually, we can use that graphics card to make a 3D world or to make medicines faster. It doesn't work that way. It's the opposite way round. There you go. I'll get off my perch now.
Sorry about the spell check on that high one.
Anthony Michael says my EVGA 3070 is only a month old and I'm sad EVGA is done with Nvidia. I kind of am, but I'm kind of not. I'd love to see EVGA do AMD cards. That would be cool. EVGA cards do look nice though. There's something about them, they do design cards very nicely. They're kind of the Founders Edition for non-founders. James Smith says Intel and Nvidia merge, lol, they'll never be the reason Mike is explaining now. Yeah, it's yeah, it wouldn't happen. Definitely wouldn't happen. Mystery, so why do they feel the need to rip us off? They don't feel the need to do it, but they know they're in a position where it doesn't really matter. If they don't sell a whole bunch of graphics cards, it's a very, very small slice of the pie. And ultimately, if it gets to the point where they've got a lot of inventory hanging around, they'll just reduce the prices a little bit. And if they don't sell, they'll reduce them a little bit more. You won't see those crazy, massive reductions because Nvidia just really don't care. They know they'll get rid of them somewhere, even if it means selling them all to some college or university as an upgrade package to their school computers. They'd much rather do that than what they would let retailers have them for cheaper. Man Mohan says, have you reviewed Montec Air 100? I haven't, sorry, no. And can we install a liquid freezer to 280mm in the front of the case with radiator orientation such as the tube coming in bottom of case? I honestly don't know. I wouldn't like to comment, sorry. If anyone else has any information, please feel free to tag Man Mohan in it. Admod says, I have tested both 4080 and 4090 with our new GF3 PSU. Very impressed. I'm kind of jealous now, but it's nice to be able to test stuff. But if you actually have to dig deep into your own pockets, it kind of takes on a whole new meaning. But yeah, it'd be nice to be sent some stuff like graphics cards like that to actually test out. Although, when Zotac sends stuff, I kind of always thinking, this is really expensive. Do I actually want to test this? Because A, I might like it and want to buy it. And B, it's kind of a little bit outside of our norm, the budget stuff. But eventually it all becomes budget stuff sooner or later if you wait long enough. Chris Hartford says, first I'll upgrade to a 4K monitor before I consider a new GPU. I'll be honest with you, that is going to be the next on my list. I'm looking at the moment for a 4K 32-inch monitor. Because my curved one, as nice as it is, it's 1440p. Editing videos in 4K, it would be nice to have a 4K display, and also for benchmarking and stuff. I've got a 4K screen here, so that's fine. But it would be nice to actually be able to do some of it actually on my screen and not have to worry about different resolutions.
So it's not the curve that's ruining your eyes that you need to get.
It probably is the curve of the screen which is killing my eyes as well. It's quite funny actually, if I go to my screen for a bit, because it's curved, and then I go to Kath's screen, it looks like a fishbowl. But opposite way around, it's weird. So it's clearly wrecking my eyes. Nick Barnes says, never considered the AI interests, just thought raw products designed to support 4K and 8K TV gaming, much wider scope than I imagined. Yeah, NVIDIA's one of their biggest things they do as part of their AI chips is pharmaceuticals. They're massively tied into finding, they can basically do a test on various pharmaceutical blends or whatever they call it. Like each drug takes literally years to get together, whereas with AI in NVIDIA's new chips, they can do it in like 1/10 of the time. So the saving to the big pharmaceutical companies to use NVIDIA's products to speed up finding new medicines and stuff like that, they save like millions of, maybe even to the billions of dollars or pounds. So that's, even if they have to buy like 100 or a couple of 100,000 NVIDIA GPUs or circuit boards or whatever it is, they'll be like, yep, no worries, because that's going to save us billion or whatever more. I'm spitballing numbers, but you get the idea. That's where the money is. So for us not wanting to pay an extra couple of £100 on a graphics card, they're like, okay, it's fine. Don't pay it. They don't care. James Marcelius says the only way NVIDIA will cut prices if someone undercuts them. If the mindshare for GPUs sways more towards AMD for reasonable price cards, NVIDIA will finally start to come round. I think they will, but I don't think it will be as quick a turnaround as you might think. Again, due to the reasons I've said already. They're a massive company with lots of fires, lots of fingers and lots of pies, so I don't think it's as important. If everybody turned around tomorrow and stopped buying NVIDIA graphics cards, it wouldn't fold the company. They would carry on. Nice one. NVIDIA kindly supply my test VGA they have done for the last 7 years. Lovely, lovely. Lucky Man 1 says money breeds money when you're that high up. Of course, yeah, there's going to be government contracts, farmer contracts, other big businesses. They're going to have permanent contracts with NVIDIA. Long-term ones as well, I would imagine. So they're going to have a constant revenue stream regardless if they're selling graphics cards or not. William Bodie, thoughts on future GPU and prices with all going on in this weird world right now? I would say, is that buffering? Is it my screen? It might be my screen. I would like to see graphics cards become more efficient. I know I've said that already. I think efficiency is the key thing. We don't need to be like, if you look at the American dragster scene, in order to make a car go extremely fast, they just put an extremely large engine in it. And that kind of is the rule. That's like the muscle way of doing it. It's just putting raw power, more power in equals more power out. We don't want that. That's the last thing we want. As if we're trying to save energy and trying to reduce our consumption, etc., what we want to be doing is putting in less energy and getting more stuff out the other end of the pipeline. So more efficiency per watt used. That is going to be the key playing thing. And it always was. Like, look at Energy Star. Look at things which are built into motherboards. ERP. All those kinds of specifications which are designed for reducing power consumption. Even things like in America where some of the thermostats in some houses would not be allowed to go down past, or they've been told not to turn them down past a certain level because they don't want people using loads of electricity. And then NVIDIA comes out with these ridiculously powerful cards. It just doesn't seem right. It's like someone's not talking to the other hand. Anyway, I'm hoping to see graphics cards which perform as well as they do now, but for maybe half the wattage. That would be perfect. I'd much prefer that. I don't think we need faster graphics cards, really. Most graphics cards can do 1440p or 4K at moderate frame rates. We don't really need more than that. Look at consoles. Look at what they're limited to, and they make the efficiency in console, in programming, to squeeze as much power out of those graphics cards as possible, which compete with PCs. It can be done. Just needs someone to want to do it. William Bodie says, so AMD and Nvidia have to fight for firms to buy things from them like Harley did in World War I and World War II. I guess this probably is a very similar thing, yeah.
The man with the hand above.
Which micro ATX case would you recommend for the following needs? Front mesh with dust filter, good airflow, not too expensive, below 80 USD, I guess. Micro ATX case, front mesh with dust filter. That's a tough one. I'm not entirely sure what cases are available stateside, so micro ATX. I can't think of anything specifically that jumps straight out. The Thermaltake Cube, the V21, or was it the V20? Which is the bigger one, the V21. That's actually quite useful, and that's got some decent ventilation, and you can fit a lot of stuff in it as well, including radiators and stuff, which you mentioned a little bit earlier. So yeah, V21 or V20, whichever it is, it's a good option. I don't think Colink are available over there. Colink Citadel RGB, that's quite a good one. Can't think of any others. Micro ATX is something which I don't dabble in too often. I do, but I don't. And there's none that I could really say. There's some GameMax ones which you could probably look at, but I don't think GameMax are available in the States. David Underhill says it's exactly why Nvidia can charge high prices, because they don't need gaming market to survive. Exactly why Intel have not really innovated a great deal. They've got their business. They sell semiconductors and processors all around the world to various things, set-top boxes, cars, manufacturing. Some Fords use Intel processors and stuff like that. There's loads of things, control switches, control boxes, escalator controls, all sorts of things use Intel processors in them, not just computers. So they're heating controls, they all use they have used Intel controls. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes which they do have a large microprocessor market, and the desktop PC market is quite a significant chunk of that. Not quite as much as the kind of the desktop PC in like the office environment, like the corporate environment, where that is where most of their stuff goes, and laptops and stuff like that, which is a big business. Desktop PCs are kind of, it's one of those very niche parts of their market. It's for all the companies. The PC desktop market is a very small slither of the pie in terms of what they overall do. Even the same for AMD as well. AMD are more kind of server based in a lot of stuff, taking over a lot of Intel's old ground. William Bodie says, bravo Mike. I'm not sure what that was for, but thank you. James says, Nvidia thinks like Intel, they must have your brand have the biggest bar and on the next review graph at the expense of redlining hardware. Yeah, which is a real shame. David says, it's the same as the push for EVs, yet we have energy shortages, outages already. Yeah, the ecosystem does not exist for electric vehicles. We've got a very small amount of EVs in the UK, and still, when you go to charge one, it's kind of, you're playing the waiting game, and it's just not convenient. Lucky Man says, Corsair Crystal Series 280X. Yeah, that's a nice case. Chris Hartford says, I need to learn how to undervolt. You don't really need to learn to. If you're using AMD stuff, then most of it you can just do in the driver. literally just go into the AMD Adrenaline section, click on undervolt, click OK, John, you're there. It's happy days. Rick H says the RTX 2060 I just bought from EVJ will last me for quite some time. Definitely, yeah. So older graphics cards, especially anything over, I guess the 10 series, like the 1060s, are still going strong now, and they've still got a good few years left in them as well. 2060 is a decent card. Stuart Cleary says the GPU mining craze is wasting a ridiculous amount of worldwide energy. Yeah, that is coming to somewhat of an end now, or at least it seems to be. I'm yet to see it, and I've yet to see graphics cards in the market available, but you never know. Yep, I agree with William's statement there. They have to make a Halo GPU to show all the tech they are able to do. It is just showing off, basically, yeah. James Miscellaneous, I'm in the minority as I am against nuclear energy. I don't trust people. We are too stupid to have these things near every city. Yeah, nuclear power is one of those things that it's a very, very good idea in theory. But it's the kind of the taking care of it, the looking after it, and the fact that, especially depending where you are, like in America, you have a lot of earthquakes. Having an earthquake around a nuclear power plant is probably not the best of ideas. We're quite lucky in the UK. We probably have maybe one major-ish earthquake a year, if that, and we very rarely even feel them. So we would probably be relatively okay. But yeah, for some countries where you are maybe near a fault line or there's a lot of geoseismic activity, that's a big word, it's probably not the best of ideas unless they can work a way of where they can safeguard those things. Look at Fukushima, for instance. Thanks for the super chat, whoever that was. Can't see it. Lucky man, £2. Bob's passed out, methinks. I think he probably has. He does.
Thanks to William Bode.
William Bode has put him on his back again. Bless you. Squibby, I couldn't possibly answer that. You never know. There are nefarious things going on everywhere. I wouldn't rule it out, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't say yes. I wouldn't say no. I would say that anything is possible. Mystery says, have you noticed 3000 series prices seem to have gone up since the 4000 launch? They will. Look at the time of year. We are in September. What happens in October and November? Black Friday sales and all those kind of back to school type things where sales normally start happening, and then Christmas. So prices will jump up a little bit. Now, this isn't a normal year, as it hasn't been for the last couple of years, because we've got absolutely mad inflation going on. And also there are other contributing factors all around the world that we all know about and read about on a daily basis. So there's a lot of external factors on the market. And also there's the factors in the market themselves. Like, clearly there are going to be some manufacturers and retailers who are saying, right, there's inflation, there's all this shit going on in the world, so if we do put our prices up, we can blame it on that. And they might try and squeeze out a little bit more margin out of the products by inflating the prices further than they actually need to. Again, I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't say it definitely happens, and I wouldn't say it happens everywhere, but I'm sure there are going to be people that are thinking that.
Question everything.
Question everything, definitely. Nick Barnes says, Tech Yes City posted a video the other day that commented a silicon wafer had tripled in cost, $4,000 to $12,000. Yeah, that's a pretty significant increase. Obviously that's going to have a knock-on effect. Now, the silicon part of a graphics card is obviously a very, very small part of it, but it is an integral part. So it's not necessarily going to mean that a graphics card is going to cost 3 times as much, because the silicon does, but it is going to have some bearing on it, definitely. Squibby says Ethereum merge saved 0.06% of worldwide energy consumption. What a waste of energy it's been until now. What has it actually done? Yeah, 0.06 seems like a very, very low number, but I suppose it's all ticking in the right direction, isn't it? KJ, UK Miners, evening peeps, how you doing, mate? Where we go. Simon Arden says it already happened. Check Scan UK, latest pre-built range shocker.
Price increases.
Price increases, right, yeah. Black Friday, the 1 week of the year where everything is normal price. Yeah. Does seem that way, doesn't it? Yeah, that's an interesting statement. Yeah, nuclear being the safest. It is in general. In terms of actual deaths caused by the industry and use of. Ordinary Dudes there says, hey all, sorry I missed the stream, overslept. No worries, you're always welcome whenever. Stuart Cleary says, suppliers are jumping on the bandwagon and boosting profits, definitely. Yeah, I think there is definitely a lot of that going to be going on. James Miscellaneous there, yeah, that's a potential hot spot there, isn't it? Miss Reese says just put nuclear subs in big lakes. Not a bad idea. With a big fat power supply cable from Thermaltake connecting it up to the mainland. Right, I think that is going to be pretty much it. We've nearly done, bloody hell, what's that? That's nearly 3 hours. 3 hours for a man of my age? That's impressive.
Plus your VAT.
William Bodie says, P.S. the little blue mouse lights up when in use, by the way. Does it? Oh, what, a red LED? Did I leave the battery in there? No, I didn't, I took it out. I will have to... It's very, very flat.
Oh, pull Poppy over so
Very
you can
flat.
see her asleep on his blanket.
Oh yeah, Poppy's asleep on your blanket at the moment.
It was.
Comfy? I guess so. Okay. Yeah, I think that is going to wrap things up for tonight. Thank you all for joining us. And thanks again. Massive shout out to Thermaltake UK for sending over the View 300MX Snow Edition. And also the Thermaltake Power Supply. Awesome stuff. Interesting stuff to see. Slightly more Halo products, but yeah, definitely good. I'll take the message off the screen. Oh, Poppy's being hidden by the message. There she is. Sorry, she's half on, half off now. She's cute. Aren't you? Little monkey. Yes. Massive thanks to... Oh, sorry. Tap in Poppy. I know you said Tappy. Tap in Poppy like she's
a mouse.
Right. Go on, get out of it. Bless her heart. So yes, thank you very much for joining us on Saturday evening. Hopefully you've had a good time. If you have, smash the like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, hit the subscribe icon and the chime notification and you'll be notified of future video releases. Also, if you want to show your appreciation, don't forget you can always send us a super chat or a super thanks in the daily videos, which is a relatively new thing from YouTube. So if you want to, you can actually thank a YouTuber when they're not live, which is awesome. Thank you, Stuart Cleary, for your €10. Thanks, Mike and Kath, for another great stream. When was that? must have been another night. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us on this Saturday evening. Hopefully you've had a good time, and if you have, we'll look forward to seeing you. Christ almighty. Next Saturday, 8 PM approximately, UK time, if you can join us. And hopefully we'll have some more news about AMD and NVIDIA going forward. And also more cool stuff from other suppliers and obviously Thermaltake as well. And Poppy. So, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching. And I've got to find the button again. I'm really going to have to find an automated way of doing this. I might just turn the wall socket off. Anyway, see you all next week, guys. Take care.